Chapter 4155. Will you take me with you? A sudden surge of murderous intent drew attention. The killing aura Lin Moyu unintentionally revealed had already taken on substance, nearly matching that of the Lord of Slaughter. Fortunately, his killing intent flashed by like thunder, disappearing in an instant as Lin Moyu returned to normal.
They went to a place, waiting for me to find them,
he said. And Yuyan calculated that Lin Moyu's 7 wives were not dead, but she couldn't determine where they had gone. She wanted to force a divination, but Lin Moyu stopped her.
Don't try to divine it, or you might perish.
And Yuyan was shocked. Simply divining someone's whereabouts could cause her, an eternal, to perish? She didn't think she was that weak. But Lin Moyu wasn't joking, so Yuyan chose to believe him. She thought of a possibility and asked quietly,
Taoist Lin, could it be?
Lin Moyu nodded.
Some things cannot be spoken.
And Yuyan replied,
I understand. No wonder you're doing this. It seems you truly care deeply.
Lin Moyu didn't respond, only gazing into the distance, his eyes filled with longing. And Yuyan seemed to empathize and blurted out,
Taoist Lin, is this final step easy for you?
As soon as she spoke, she regretted it. Whoever had an easy final step? Since ancient times, countless Eternals have been stuck at this final step. If it were easy, someone would have succeeded by now. And in Yuyan's heart, Lin Moyu might become the first among them to succeed in taking the final step. As for failure, she didn't think Lin Moyu was capable of it. Lin Moyu asked,
Taoist Yuyan, do you intend to take this final step?
And Yuyan thought for a moment.
I didn't plan to before, but now I want to try.
Her beautiful eyes sparkled, the meaning obvious. It was for him that she wanted to take the final step. Lin Moyu gently shook his head.
Actually, Taoist Yuyan, you don't need to be fixated on this final step.
And Yuyan's expression changed, as if Lin Moyu was rejecting her. She didn't believe he didn't understand her feelings. Lin Moyu continued,
During my recent visit to the Spirit Demon clan, I learned some secrets. Their clan leader is a transcendent. Before their realm was destroyed, the clan leader led the Spirit Demon clan into chaos, protecting the entire clan and turning them into chaos beings.
There was a lot of information in that sentence, and Yuyan understood instantly. A realm is what they call a world. Worlds are destined to be destroyed, and when that happens, all beings within, including Eternals, die. Only by transcending can one survive, and a transcendent can take others out of the realm, like a single person achieving enlightenment and bringing their whole family to ascend. Lin Moyu was telling her that she didn't need to risk taking the final step herself. As long as he succeeded, he could take her with him. But Yuyan still wanted confirmation.
If that's really the case, will you take me with you?
Lin Moyu smiled.
I will.
Those 2 light words completely reassured Yuyan. Her mood brightened like sunlight.
Then I won't risk it.
Her desires were simple. She had never really wanted to become a transcendent. The 2 of them wandered through the Hengduan Mountains, talking for a long time until they reached the end of the range. And Yuyan, in a great mood, returned to her palace, while Lin Moyu entered the origin land. He had once promised the spirit of time some things, but those could only be done after becoming eternal. Now, finally, he could fulfill that promise. Standing on the immortality great Dao, he looked at the many Daos floating around, each with its own master. Some Daos were active, some dormant. The state of a Dao reflected its master state to a certain extent. The 8 oldest Daos were all dormant, but upon closer inspection, Lin Moyu noticed some differences. The cursed Dao was truly dormant. He'd done that himself, and used it as a sample for comparison. The Fate Dao, on the other hand, was not truly dormant. Its master had already revived, but was cut off in the land of severed Daos, making the Dao appear dormant when it actually wasn't. The other 6 ancient Daos, though appearing dormant, were starting to show signs of activity. This confirmed what the Lord of Fate had said. His old friends were about to return. Lin Moyu didn't care about these ancient beings. Even if they were coming back, who knew how long it would take? Maybe years, maybe tens of thousands of years. Each Dao corresponded to an eternal. Lin Moyu saw the Slaughter Dao, which was very close to the human emperor's Destruction Dao. As the last two to enter the origin land, their Daos had something in common. Both masters were extraordinary geniuses. The Destruction Dao was highly active, while the Slaughter Dao appeared dormant. But after watching for a while, Lin Moyu smiled wryly. The Slaughter Dao only seemed dormant. It had actually recovered but was being deliberately suppressed. Only its master could do that in this place. So, it seemed the Lord of Slaughter had already recovered to a certain extent and could return at any time. Lin Moyu guessed that the Lord of Slaughter's dormancy was related to the human emperor, and that's why he was faking it. When he truly returned, the human emperor might have trouble. Naturally, Lin Moyu wouldn't tell the human emperor this was a matter of karma between them, and he wouldn't get involved. Finally, he focused on the Time Dao. Its master was sleeping in the river of time, which was better than dormancy. At least there was no need for reincarnation, just enough time to recover. The Time Dao was special, accompanied by the river of time. The Time Lord often entered the river to observe the past, and was more familiar with the river than with the Dao itself. So, after being injured, he instinctively chose to sleep in the river of time. The river was connected to the Dao, so sleeping there was almost the same as sleeping in the Dao itself. But this also gave the Spirit of Time an opportunity. What the Spirit of Time wanted Lin Moyu to do was very special and not easy. Lin Moyu couldn't guarantee he could succeed, only that he would try his best. The Spirit of Time wanted to replace the Time Lord and become the true master of the Time Dao. If successful, the Time Lord would become the first Eternal to truly perish in the 5 world realms. Lin Moyu had a grudge with the Time Lord. He was the one who injured him and didn't want the Time Lord to recover. So, the two struck a deal and made a plan. Threads of soul power turned into invisible arrows, flying toward the Time Dao. As soon as they left the range of the Immortality Dao, Lin Moyu's soul power was suppressed by an invisible force. The origin land was filled with invisible power, protecting each Dao. This was the rule of heaven and earth and could not be violated. But Lin Moyu didn't care. He fought against the rules, and his soul power continued toward the Time Dao. Rules are not completely unbreakable. Chapter 4156. Take action. Rules are not absolute. As long as your power is sufficient, you can naturally break the rules. Otherwise, how did the Lord of Curses leave a mark on my great Dao back then? Didn't he break through the constraints of the rules? He wasn't the only one, so did the human emperor. If they could do it, why can't I? Besides, what I intend to do goes even further than what they did. The arrow of the soul, under the heavy oppression of the rules, shot toward the Dao of time. The farther it moved from the Immortality Dao, the more severe the suppression from the rules became. But this couldn't stop Lin Moyu. Even though the world tree was slumbering, it still instinctively provided Lin Moyu with endless soul power. With the world tree as his backing, Lin Moyu had no worries. He simply had to keep moving forward step by step. Above the origin land, the Candle Dragon's eyes appeared.
What are you doing?
The Candle Dragon's voice sounded. Lin Moyu casually replied,
Can't you tell?
The Candle Dragon's voice lowered.
You're not trying to leave a mark. I sense your killing intent.
Lin Moyu couldn't help but laugh.
As expected of the Candle Dragon, you can sense even that.
He had hidden it well, but still couldn't escape the Candle Dragon's perception. That's right, he was going to kill the Lord of Time. Since you've fallen dormant, then stay asleep forever. No need to awaken again. The Candle Dragon said,
You can't do this. It violates the rules.
Lin Moyu replied,
What exactly are these rules you speak of? Back when the Lord of Curses left a mark on my Dao, didn't he violate the rules?
The Candle Dragon said,
That was just a mark. They didn't intend to kill you.
Lin Moyu shook his head.
To me, there's not much difference. That's why I killed the Lord of Curses. Candle Dragon, I'll be honest, I'm not just targeting the Lord of Time, I'm also after the Lord of Curses.
The Candle Dragon said,
Isn't the Lord of Curses already dormant?
Lin Moyu replied,
That's not enough. I want to make sure he never returns.
Dormancy and reincarnation mean he'll eventually return. What Lin Moyu wanted was to ensure he could never return. Of course, Lin Moyu didn't have to do this now. He could wait until he transcended, which would make things much easier. But Lin Moyu preferred to settle scores immediately. Waiting for the future was too uncertain. The Candle Dragon's voice grew lower and angrier.
What you're doing completely violates the rules. I won't allow it.
Lin Moyu chuckled.
All right, then let's fight. Winner takes all. Whoever wins decides.
This statement made the Candle Dragon uneasy. He knew Lin Moyu's strength well. He could still recall the madness Lin Moyu displayed when fighting the mutated wild beast. And that wasn't even Lin Moyu's full strength. If Lin Moyu went all out, the consequences would be severe. The Candle Dragon wasn't sure he could win. Even if he could, all his years of accumulation might be destroyed. Besides, he still hoped Lin Moyu would help him. So he instinctively didn't want to offend him. But rules couldn't be easily broken. The Candle Dragon was caught between a rock and a hard place, his eyes nearly twisting in frustration. Lin Moyu was resolute. Tossing the dilemma to the Candle Dragon, he made it clear he would proceed. And the Candle Dragon could do as he pleased. The Candle Dragon often had to act according to rules. Lin Moyu didn't know exactly what those rules were, but after many encounters, he'd figured out most of it. He knew the Candle Dragon couldn't attack him directly. Even if he broke the rules, as long as it wasn't too outrageous, the Candle Dragon could at most try to stop him. Each realm in the world is like a class system. Now that Lin Moyu had become eternal, he was at the highest level within the domain of the world, enjoying many privileges. Even the Candle Dragon couldn't act recklessly against him. The Candle Dragon's voice grew heavier and angrier.
You're scheming against me.
Lin Moyu replied.
If that's how you see it, so be it. I only do what I want. If, after cultivating to this level, I can't do what I want, what's the point? You want to transcend to escape the rules. I'm the same. The Lord of Time and I have a grudge, and I promised the Spirit of Time, so I must act. You know all about the Lord of Curses. I'm locked in a death feud with him. If you want to stop me, a battle is inevitable. So I don't think I'm using you. At most, I'm using the rules. I'm leaving the choice to you. Fight me to the death for their sake, or turn a blind eye. You decide.
Once again, Lin Moyu left the choice to the Candle Dragon, while continuing to channel his soul power toward the Time Lotus. A channel woven of soul power was forming. No matter how the rules suppressed it, they couldn't break it. The Candle Dragon was deeply conflicted, unable to decide whether to act. As the channel neared completion and Lin Moyu's soul power was about to touch the Tao of Time, thunder suddenly echoed through the origin land. The thunder shook all Daos, and all Eternals sensed something was happening and wanted to come see.
Get back!
The Candle Dragon roared, unleashing a storm of power that instantly silenced all the Daos. The origin land was sealed in an instant. No Eternal could enter. Lin Moyu understood the Candle Dragon's thinking. Whether or not he intervened today, he didn't want others to know what was happening here. Lin Moyu smiled.
I'm actually curious about your true identity. I've had some guesses, but they're just guesses, not certain.
The Candle Dragon replied in a low voice.
I am the first being born of the 5 world domains, and the manager of their rules.
This answer was close to what Lin Moyu had suspected. Lin Moyu smiled.
Why is it called the 5 world domains? If you're the first being, why are you only the manager?
The Candle Dragon snorted.
What do you know?
Lin Moyu said.
So you don't know either.
Anger flashed in the Candle Dragon's eyes.
Of course I know.
Lin Moyu heard the stubbornness.
Then tell me, why is it called the 5 world domains?
The Candle Dragon replied coldly.
That's the name the domain chose for itself. It's enough to know that you don't need to ask why, and you're not qualified to ask.
Lin Moyu said.
I see. Since you're the manager, you should be able to enter that place whenever you want, right?
The Candle Dragon said.
I am indeed the manager appointed by heaven and earth, but even managers must follow the rules. That place isn't somewhere you can go just because you want to. If you stop now and don't break the rules, I might consider taking you there.
Lin Moyu shrugged indifferently.
No need, I don't want to go.
The candle dragon's eyes narrowed sharply. Lin Moyu wouldn't budge no matter what. He growled.
If you insist, then I'll have to act.
Lin Moyu replied.
Fine, I'm ready anytime.
The candle dragon snorted coldly. Black clouds appeared in the void, thunder crackling, quickly blotting out the sky. The candle dragon invoked the rules, summoning heavenly punishment. Lin Moyu was equally unyielding. His consciousness stirred, using gather power, his aura soaring. Lin Moyu broke through eternity, reaching half-step transcendence. His palm glowed as he looked at the candle dragon.
Let's do this.
Chapter 4157. Anyone would be better than you. Lin Moyu was surrounded by a special aura similar to origin energy, but higher, leaning toward chaos. Chaos is the source of realms and worlds. It represents disorder, while the worlds themselves are order within chaos. The aura Lin Moyu exuded now seemed chaotic, yet brimmed with order. This was chaotic magic, a level above origin techniques. When Lin Moyu first advanced, the candle dragon hadn't felt it so strongly, but now he sensed it clearly.
Chaos. Dao.
The candle dragon murmured, a bit surprised. Lin Moyu's palm glowed as he stared intently at the candle dragon, ready to act at any moment. As the administrator of the 5 world realms, the candle dragon always acted by the rules, standing above all. No one had ever confronted him like this. With a cold snort, thunder rained down, striking at the soul channel Lin Moyu had opened.
Great Dao world-ending palm.
Lin Moyu struck, shattering the thunder. A great number of undead servants appeared, but in the origin land, they couldn't leave the domain of the immortality Dao. The laws of heaven and earth restricted them. The chaotic aura around Lin Moyu intensified.
Chaotic magic, strengthened troops.
In an instant, the undead servants' power rose by a realm. Armored undead raised their blades, cloaks whipping in the wind, summoning gales that tore open the rules of the origin land, sending the undead flying out to attack the candle dragon. A barrage of attacks rained down on the candle dragon. If there was to be a fight, there was no point in being passive. The best defense was offense. The candle dragon's deep voice sounded, and the wind of annihilation blew, dispersing all attacks and forcing the undead back. The wind was strong, but could only keep them at bay, not destroy them. Lin Moyu destroyed the thunder, his eyes gleaming. The heavenly punishment thunder was weak not because he was too strong, but because it truly was weak. The candle dragon wasn't really fighting. He was putting on a show. Lin Moyu instantly understood. The candle dragon had to act because of the rules, but didn't want a life and death battle. As Lin Moyu had said, fighting to the death would only benefit others pointless. But under the rules, they still had to fight. The candle dragon suppressed his power to the minimum. The seemingly powerful thunder was actually harmless. Since that was the case, Lin Moyu didn't mind playing along. He directed some undead to attack the black clouds, letting them take the thunder's blows, while the rest continued their
Fierce.
assault on the candle dragon. The
Battle.
was fierce. The candle dragon, surrounded by undead, stuck to the rules, fulfilling his duty. But in the end, he couldn't stop Lin Moyu not because he was weak, but because Lin Moyu was too strong. Thus, the laws of heaven and earth couldn't blame the candle dragon. The soul channel was finally established, and Lin Moyu touched the Dao of time. He took out a fist-sized gem and sent it along the soul channel into the Dao of time. The gem shimmered with beautiful light, but compared to the vast Dao of time, it was just a tiny pebble. Yet this unremarkable pebble would stir up a storm in the Dao of time. Lin Moyu could foresee that what was about to happen would be a grand drama, unprecedented in the 5 world realms, a first and a last. This gem was the Time Spirit Stone, condensed from the essence of the River of Time, the companion of the Spirit of Time. Its material was on par with, or even superior to, innate origin treasures. Most importantly, it could contain the will and soul of the Spirit of Time. The Tao of Time was unique, with a river of time in addition to the Tao itself. Only the Tao of Fate was somewhat similar. The Lord of Time could fully control the Tao of Time, but his control over the river of time was much weaker. The real master of the river of time was the spirit of time. Normally, after attaining the Tao, the Lord of Time should have subdued the spirit of time, gaining control over the river of time. But he hadn't. The spirit of time not only remained unbound, but even sought to replace him. However, the spirit of time couldn't enter the origin land, nor the Tao of time. So, when Lin Moyu made his request, they struck a deal. The spirit of time entrusted his will and soul to the time spirit stone, and Lin Moyu would deliver it into the Tao of time. As the time spirit stone sank into the Tao of time, Lin Moyu clearly saw the spirit of time emerge from it. Instantly, a storm erupted in the Tao of time. Somehow, the spirit of time began to seize control. The spirit of time used his own methods to take over the Tao of time, and in no time, vast regions of the Tao were under his control. As the spirit of the river of time, he was older than the Lord of Time and understood the Tao just as well. If not for the rules of heaven and earth, which kept him from the Tao of time, he was even more qualified to be its master. Now, with Lin Moyu's help, he finally entered the Tao of time. As he seized more ground, a strange scene unfolded. The part controlled by the Lord of Time surged with waves, roaring with Tao power. The part controlled by the Spirit of Time was calm and unmoving. The Lord of Time was asleep, his hold on the Tao weak, so the Spirit of Time took advantage, expanding his domain. Boom! Space twisted, and the river of time appeared above the Tao of time. From within came a furious roar. The Lord of Time had awakened, roused by the threat to his Tao.
You court death!
His words dripped with murderous intent as a giant rose from the river of time, towering to the heavens. The spirit of time also appeared in the river.
You kill me? When you failed to refine me back then, you can't do it now. Everything you know, I know. Everything you don't, I do. Now that I control more than half the Tao of time, what right do you have to fight me? Someone like you was never fit to be Lord of Time. Anyone would be better than you. You've schemed against others for so many years, only to be outplayed yourself. What a joke of an eternal, utterly useless.
The spirit of time's words were full of mockery and contempt. Anyone could hear how little he thought of the Lord of Time. The Lord of Time was enraged.
Die.
He didn't bother to argue, just attacked. A great battle broke out in the river of time. The spirit of time wielded its power, conjuring giants to clash with the Lord of Time. Their powers were of the same source, impossible to tell who was stronger. Lin Moyu watched, sighing inwardly.
So the spirit of time is quite the talker.
Chapter 4158. The Great Tao changes hands. Words, at times, are also a kind of weapon. If used well, their effect can even surpass many powerful techniques. The spirit of time lives within the river of time, having witnessed the birth, aging, sickness, and death of countless living beings, and the unfolding of myriad stories across endless worlds. Having seen so many different people and stories, as long as the spirit of time isn't a fool, he would have learned to turn words into sharp tools. The spirit of time had prepared for this day for countless years, ready to use every method to deal with the Lord of Time. The Lord of Time was clearly furious, but there was nothing he could do against the spirit of time. The more helpless he felt, the more anxious and angry he became. The spirit of time kept attacking him with words, while Lin Moyu noticed a hint of blue light deep within the river of time. That blue light gave Lin Moyu a very bad feeling.
Is this Tao poison? No, it's time venom.
Lin Moyu saw the true nature of the blue light. It was a deadly poison refined from endless time. The resentment, anger, and curses of countless beings across infinite worlds had accumulated over the ages, finally forming this time venom. The venom contained unimaginable resentment, capable of erasing a Tao or shattering a Tao heart. The spirit of time's understanding of time truly surpassed the Lord of Times. The time Tao isn't just about speeding up or slowing down. It also contains many ways to kill. The power of time venom is immense, rivaling even the cursed Dao more than enough to poison other Eternals. The faint blue light silently reached the Lord of Time and exploded. The venom instantly enveloped him, and the giant he controlled fell into chaos. Countless timelines interwove, and the chaotic eruption, filled with curses and resentment, struck at the Lord of Time's Dao heart. Lin Moyu could see that the Spirit of Time had prepared thoroughly for this moment. Everything was aimed at the Lord of Time. Over the long years, the Spirit of Time had studied his opponent thoroughly. The Lord of Time's greatest mistake was choosing to slumber within the river of time. If he had chosen the Time Dao itself, the result might have been a bit better, but only a bit. He wasn't clever enough scheming against others for years, yet not realizing he was being schemed against. While the Lord of Time was assaulted by the venom, the Spirit of Time launched his offensive, seizing more territory within the Time Dao. Now, the Spirit of Time controlled 60% of the Time Dao, a decisive advantage. But even now, the outcome wasn't fully settled. Lin Moyu sensed the Spirit of Time surely had another move prepared. Sure enough, the Spirit of Time shouted, and his soul avatar within the Time Dao merged with his true body in the river of time, transforming into a giant that spanned the river and the Dao. The Spirit of Time's voice echoed through the river of Dao.
My followers, help me attain the Dao.
In an instant, time flowed backward within the Time Dao, and the phantoms of countless beings appeared. The same thing happened in the river of time. Countless beings, all from the past, who should have long since vanished, reappeared, clearly due to the Spirit of Time's manipulation. These beings offered up vast amounts of faith power, which fell upon the Lord of Time like blades, cutting his giant form to pieces. But this was only a surface effect. The faith power didn't just destroy the giant. It transferred the power within him to the Spirit of Time. The Spirit of Time grew stronger, while the Lord of Time grew weaker. The gap between them widened with each moment.
So well prepared.
The Spirit of Time had prepared too thoroughly, using the river of time to set up countless tricks. He'd kept the souls of the dead as his followers, learned how to use faith power, and when he connected to the Time Dao, he reversed time and temporarily resurrected all his followers. Of course, this resurrection was brief. Once time stopped reversing, all would vanish. Lin Moyu understood this, but the followers did not. The Spirit of Time never intended to truly bring them back to life. Such a violation of the world's rules was not his goal. He just needed them to be
alive
long enough to complete their assigned task. With each wave of attack, the Lord of Time's aura weakened. The Spirit of Time wasn't done yet. He formed a great bow in his hands, and a time arrow slowly took shape upon it. Time flowed along the arrow as the Spirit of Time drew the bow fully and intoned.
Arrow of Time.
He released the arrow, which struck the Lord of Time unerringly. At that moment, the Lord of Time's flow of time became chaotic, and with his time in disarray, his thoughts became confused. Already struggling against the time venom, his Dao heart now fell into even deeper chaos. The Spirit of Time continued.
Explode. Reverse the flow.
Boom! The time arrow exploded, and the Lord of Time was cast into a reverse flow of time. The reversal was so fast that, in a blink, 10,000 years had passed. Another blink, and 100,000 years. The Lord of Time's aura surged. 100,000 years ago was his prime. But the reversal didn't stop. It kept tracing further back. 1,000,000 years, 5,000,000, 10,000,000 years. In an instant, the Lord of Time was shrouded in the time of countless ages past, as if returned to the very beginning of his cultivation, when his realm was low and he had just begun to comprehend the Dao. His aura plummeted, and the reverse flow seemed endless.
What a move!
Lin Moyu couldn't help but praise what he saw. The Spirit of Time's tactics were seamlessly connected. First, a verbal battle to anger the Lord of Time. Then, the time venom to break his Dao heart and throw him into chaos. Then, the faith power of his followers to strip away the Lord of Time's strength and add it to his own. Finally, the time arrow to cast his foe into a reverse flow, reducing him to his weakest state. With all these calculations, the Lord of Time had no hope of resistance. The Spirit of Time's domain within the Time Dao grew to over 80%. He had nearly complete control. The Lord of Time had no chance of a comeback. It all looked simple, but in truth, it was the result of countless years of planning by the Spirit of Time. Every step was crucial, miss one, and the plan would fail. Lin Moyu knew the drama was about to end. The Lord of Time had no hope left. Even the Candle Dragon seemed entranced by the spectacle, his own actions becoming half-hearted. From the Candle Dragon's eyes, Lin Moyu could see his shock. Such a change of Dao Master had never happened before. Lin Moyu said,
"Within the realms of heaven and earth, there is always a sliver of hope. This is the spirit of time's chance at life. The Lord of Time made a fatal mistake and must pay the price. The path of cultivation is about defying fate, one wrong step, and there's no return."
These words seemed directed at the Candle Dragon, but of course he understood. The Candle Dragon snorted coldly.
"Spare me the grand philosophy. Today, it's only because I lack the strength that I can't stop you. That doesn't mean I approve of what you've done."
Lin Moyu smiled.
"I'm not finished yet."
His soul force transformed into a sharp arrow, whistling toward the Cursed Dao. Chapter 4159. No one can escape causality. The Candle Dragon saw Lin Moyu's actions and didn't hesitate to intervene, but it was all just an act. The two cooperated seamlessly. The Candle Dragon upheld the rules, while Lin Moyu accomplished what he wanted. On the side of the Time Great Dao, the outcome was essentially decided. Even if the Lord of Time had some tricks left, it was unlikely he could turn things around. It wouldn't be long before a miracle was witnessed and Eternal would truly fall, not just enter dormancy. Lin Moyu had already fulfilled his agreement with the Spirit of Time. The rest was no longer his concern. Now, Lin Moyu was about to kill another Eternal.
"Today, 2 Eternals will fall. I wonder what kind of phenomenon will appear in heaven and earth when Eternals fall."
Lin Moyu didn't care about these things. His killing intent had arisen and would not change. A soul arrow pierced through the rules of heaven and earth in the origin land, reaching straight to the Cursed Great Dao and opening a channel. Lin Moyu could clearly sense the chaotic aura from the Cursed Great Dao, a force close to the dregs of the Great Dao, seemingly chaotic yet ordered. The Cursed Great Dao was the most chaotic among all Daos, and also one of the most vicious. Those influenced by it were never good people. The Immortality Great Dao surged, a vast tide of death power pouring out along the soul channel toward the Cursed Great Dao. The power of death could erase everything, even the power of the Great Dao itself. Lin Moyu's plan was to use death to erase the Cursed Great Dao. Once the Cursed Great Dao was gone, the Lord of Curses would fall as well. The Immortality Great Dao was strong. Its first move suppressed the Cursed Great Dao, and death power spread across the Cursed Great Dao, invading bit by bit. The Cursed Great Dao tried to resist, but the Immortality Great Dao was too overwhelming, crushing all resistance. If the Lord of Curses were still present, he could have controlled the Cursed Great Dao to fight back, turning this into a contest between 2 Eternals. But now, with the Lord of Curses dormant and Lin Moyu in control of the Immortality Great Dao, there was no comparison. The Cursed Great Dao was suppressed and erased. Its complete destruction was only a matter of time. Suddenly, the Candle Dragon's voice sounded in Lin Moyu's soul.
"Do you know what happens when you destroy a Great Dao in the origin land?"
His tone was calm, not trying to stop Lin Moyu, but wanting to have a proper conversation. Lin Moyu thought for a moment.
"At most, the origin land will lose a Great Dao, and heaven and earth will lose an Eternal."
The Candle Dragon said,
"You've been to the core of the realms. The origin land is connected to the realm core. When a Great Dao is lost in the origin land, the core is damaged, and the realm core is affected as well." "Oh? Could the realm core collapse because of a single Great Dao?"
Lin Moyu asked curiously. The Candle Dragon replied,
"Collapse, no, but it will be damaged. The realm core is composed of countless natural formations evolved from realm divine runes, each linked to a Great Dao. If a Great Dao is destroyed, the corresponding formation collapses too. And you should know what happens when a formation collapses."
Lin Moyu had seen the formations in the realm core, countless formations operating in harmony, maintaining a special balance. If one formation broke, the balance would be lost, and the core would be damaged, requiring power and time to repair and restore balance. Lin Moyu asked,
So when I destroyed the light great Dao before, the realm core was damaged too?
The candle dragon replied.
Of course it was. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered with you. But that Dao was on the periphery, so the impact wasn't great. The cursed great Dao is in the origin land and one of the original 8 Daos, so its impact is much greater.
Lin Moyu nodded, fully understanding. The candle dragon continued.
Now that you know the consequences, will you still go through with it?
Lin Moyu answered without hesitation.
Of course. The realm core will be damaged, but not destroyed. Why not do it?
His mind was made up and would not change. You! The candle dragon was helpless and didn't say more. He couldn't persuade Lin Moyu. With someone so resolute, once a decision was made, it wouldn't change. Besides, the candle dragon wouldn't really fight Lin Moyu. He still needed Lin Moyu's help for his own transcendence. His reluctance was more about his nature as a guardian of the rules. But ultimately, whether the realm core was damaged or not had nothing to do with him. What he sought was transcendence. When that day came, even if the heavens collapsed and the realm turned to dust, it wouldn't matter. The candle dragon continued to pretend to battle Lin Moyu, guarding the last line of the rules, but didn't interfere further. Lin Moyu kept erasing the cursed great Dao. It was a powerful origin Dao, and destroying it would take time. On the other side, the spirit of time was finishing even faster. His battle was nearly over. After all his calculations, the wounded and sleeping Lord of Time was now trapped. Over 90% of the Time Great Dao had changed hands. The river of time was sinking, almost merging with the Time Great Dao. The Lord of Time was trapped and couldn't escape. The Spirit of Time used chaotic time to create a prison, tightly confining the Lord of Time. His prepared followers turned their faith into blades, constantly cutting at the Lord of Time, while the Spirit of Time kept firing arrows of time, further confusing the Lord of Time. The Lord of Time's aura grew weaker, on the verge of dormancy. Once dormant, he would have no chance to awaken. The Time Great Dao would change hands, and he would no longer be the Lord of Time. He would be truly gone. Unwilling, the Lord of Time occasionally regained clarity in the chaos and let out roars of rage. In his final moments, he revealed his true form, not a human, but a glassy long serpent, also known as the Serpent of Time. The Spirit of Time said quietly,
The Serpent of Time is a type of being within the Time Great Dao, not many in number. After he attained the Dao, he killed all the other serpents of time. I once had a good friend, also a serpent of time. We were very close.
The Spirit of Time didn't say much, but the story was clear enough. His friend and the Lord of Time were of the same race. After attaining the Dao, the Lord of Time became selfish and slaughtered his kin, including the Spirit of Time's friend. Thus, irreconcilable conflict arose between them, and when the Lord of Time tried to seize the River of Time, the Spirit of Time naturally opposed him. Not only that, the Spirit of Time began plotting his death, slowly preparing over ages, and today he would finally succeed. Lin Moyu listened and sighed.
Even Eternals can't escape causality.
The candle dragon whispered.
All things are bound by causality. No one is exempt, not even the Lord of Causality.
Chapter 4160. A promise. Even the Lord of Causality cannot escape causality. It sounds almost laughable, but it's the truth. When an Yuyen uses the Tao of causality, she must endure the backlash from it. As the Lord of Causality, she can only lessen the backlash, not eliminate it entirely. And this is only within the boundaries of the world. If she were in the chaos, the backlash would be even worse. Lin Moyu understood this deeply. Every time he used the Seeking Cause ring, he would inevitably die once from the backlash. The Seeking Cause ring is powerful, but its backlash is unbearable for others like a chicken rib. Only he can use it. Lin Moyu didn't know who gave the Seeking Cause ring to the Three Lives Buddha. Was it the green-robed elder or the white-robed elder? He had no idea. Back then, he'd thought about teaming up with the Three Lives Buddha to deal with the world will. But as things changed and his own strength grew, he no longer needed the Buddha's help and stopped contacting him. Unconsciously, Lin Moyu's thoughts drifted. It wasn't until a sharp, venomous, murderous gaze fell upon him, jolting his soul, that he snapped back to reality. The true body of the Lord of Time, the Time Serpent, was staring at him. Having been forced out by the Spirit of Time, with over 90% of the Time Dao seized, the Lord of Time was on the verge of demise. He realized he could never turn things around. The Spirit of Time schemes were too deep and preparations too thorough. Everything was aimed at him. Yet the true culprit behind it all was Lin Moyu. Without him, the Lord of Time would never have ended up like this. At the brink of death, the Lord of Time broke free from confusion and his mind cleared. He hissed with hatred.
It's all your fault.
Lin Moyu chuckled.
It's all causality. As an eternal, do you still not understand this?
Though the Lord of Time regained clarity, his heart was consumed by hatred and he refused to reflect. He blamed everything on Lin Moyu, repeating,
It's all your fault. All your fault.
His voice grew lower and his hatred deeper.
Let's die together.
Boom! The Lord of Time's true body exploded, accompanied by a soul-tearing scream. He turned all his remaining power into a torrent of time, surging toward Lin Moyu. The rules of the origin land were swept away by the time torrent. Such restrictions meant nothing to an eternal burning all his power for a final strike. The torrent of time was unavoidable. Lin Moyu could only confront it head-on. Origin technique, wings of time and curse. With a thought, Lin Moyu unfurled the wings of time and curse, which vibrated swiftly. They emitted a hazy light, stirring time itself, and ripples spread through the void. Each ripple contained the power of time and curse, making the void even more chaotic. When the torrent of time entered the ripples, it was immediately distorted and slowed sharply. To counter the torrent, Lin Moyu used time as well. He had dealt with time countless times. Though his understanding wasn't as deep as the Lord of Times, he could still resist. Countless undead servants appeared, connecting to the Great Thousand World and using their chaos attribute to draw upon the power of the Time Dao in the 5 world domains. They reversed the flow of time together, restraining the Lord of Time's torrent. The Lord of Time wanted to use his last strength to take Lin Moyu with him, but couldn't harm him at all. The despair of dying in vain could only be felt by the Lord of Time himself. The torrent of time echoed with his screams, the Time Serpent's shadow appearing again and again, struggling to break through Lin Moyu's defense. But he was no longer at his peak, and after a few seconds of struggle, the torrent finally dissipated. The Lord of Time's true body shattered and vanished like a bubble. Everything disappeared without a trace. Then the Spirit of Time said,
He's not dead. His true spirit survived and escaped time.
Lin Moyu understood what the Spirit of Time meant. The Lord of Time seemed dead but actually wasn't. He preserved his true spirit and escaped into another dimension of time. That final torrent wasn't just to drag Lin Moyu down with him, but also to use the chaos to enter another timeline. The past has countless layers. He could flee to any of them, and once hidden, he'd be nearly impossible to find. The Spirit of Time searched the river of time, then shook his head.
Can't find him. He's blocked the river of time.
Now, the Spirit of Time had seized 99% of the Time Dao, but as long as the Lord of Time lived, that last sliver would be hard to claim. Unless he had power beyond the Dao, he could only follow the rules of the Dao. As long as the Lord of Time wasn't truly dead, he might return someday. And with him alive, it would be difficult for the Dao to change hands. The Spirit of Time would struggle to become Lord of the Time Dao, let alone ascend to eternity. The Spirit of Time's small face was scrunched up, clearly thinking hard. After all that planning, something still went wrong at the last moment. After a while, he still hadn't come up with a solution and looked to Lin Moyu.
Do you have any ideas?
Lin Moyu replied,
There is a way.
The Spirit of Time's eyes lit up.
Tell me.
Lin Moyu said,
But it will cost me dearly.
The Spirit of Time understood.
Whatever you ask, just say it. If I can do it, I'll do my utmost.
The Spirit of Time made a promise. Lin Moyu didn't make any excessive demands.
Good. I hope you'll keep your word.
With that, Lin Moyu took out the Seeking Cause ring. Though the Lord of Time could escape the Dao and hide in another timeline, he couldn't escape causality. Not every Eternal is like the Lord of Curses, who had soul fragments prepared in advance. Seeking cause, seeking effect. Lin Moyu activated the Seeking Cause ring to use causality to find the Lord of Time's whereabouts. The backlash from the ring surged into his body, and with a bang, Lin Moyu's body shattered. The powerful causality backlash nearly tore him apart. In the past, he'd have had to die once, but now that he had become eternal, he survived the backlash. Lin Moyu smiled wryly.
Might as well have died.
With that, he abandoned his broken body and soul and simply killed himself. Repairing body and soul would waste more power than being reborn. He'd long since gotten used to dying. Death meant nothing to him. Bathed in purple light, Lin Moyu was reborn. At the same time, the Seeking Cause ring projected a faint light, tearing open space and connecting to an unknown place. A rift appeared in the void, and on the other side was a small, independent world.
So this is the Lord of Time's escape route.
As an Eternal, how could he not have a backup plan? The Lord of Time had clearly prepared one. The Spirit of Time said quietly.
So that's where it is.
Lin Moyu asked.
Do you know what that place is?
The Spirit of Time replied.
It's a small world that hasn't fully formed. He exiled it into the flow of time, so it can't truly develop. I didn't know why he did that before, but now I see it was his backup plan. If he fell, he could reincarnate there.
Chapter 4161. It's better if you don't know. The Lord of Time had long prepared his escape route, believing it to be flawless. The small world was detached from the river of time. Once he escaped into it, even those who wielded the Tao of Time couldn't find him. Even if An Yuyen intervened, at most she could sense he was in another layer of spacetime, but not pinpoint his exact location. Unfortunately, he never accounted for a freak like Lin Moyu, nor for the existence of such a heaven-defying artifact in Lin Moyu's possession. Lin Moyu looked at the Spirit of Time.
Remember your promise.
The Spirit of Time replied.
I always keep my word.
Lin Moyu chuckled.
That's for the best.
He gathered his power, reaching the peak of half-step transcendence, and struck the small world located by the Seeking Cause ring with a palm. Under the great Tao world-ending palm, a massive imprint shattered spacetime, appearing over that small world. There were no living beings inside. The world wasn't fully formed, only the remnant soul of the Lord of Time hiding within. The small world was destroyed under the palm, and the Lord of Time's remnant soul perished with it. In an instant, heaven and earth thundered, and the origin land echoed with a peal of thunder. Suddenly, a sense of sadness arose in the hearts of all. This feeling spread quickly along every Tao, rippling outward. In every world, including the void realm, every living being regardless of intelligence felt sorrow. The grief was so intense that many weaker beings died from it. An Eternal had fallen, something that had never happened before. Lin Moyu murmured.
That's quite a commotion.
The Candle Dragon snorted.
This is just the fall of an Eternal. If you destroy the Cursed Dao, it'll be much bigger.
Lin Moyu looked unconcerned.
Good. I'd like to see what happens to the world.
The Candle Dragon knew he couldn't persuade Lin Moyu and said calmly.
As long as you don't regret it.
Lin Moyu replied.
That depends. If I ever do regret it, I'll make sure this realm survives.
He wasn't bluffing. If something happened to his loved ones, he'd go all the way, dragging the entire realm down with him if needed. The Candle Dragon stared at Lin Moyu for a long moment, then muttered.
You really are a man.
Lin Moyu just smiled, unconcerned with others' opinions so long as his conscience was clear. The sadness lingered for a long time. Most beings didn't know what had happened or why they were sad, only that their hearts ached. Only a few Tao lords vaguely sensed something, but couldn't be sure. The human emperor and others' faces changed drastically. They knew what had happened. The Lord of Power put down his wine, voice low.
The Lord of Time has fallen.
The other Eternals were also grave. This event showed them that even Eternals could fall, overturning their understanding. The human emperor sensed carefully.
The Tao of Time still exists. How could the Lord of Time fall?
All the Eternals present were puzzled. In their understanding, an Eternal could only fall if their Tao was shattered. The same was true for many Tao lords. As long as their Tao remained, they could not truly perish. But now the Tao of Time was intact. Yet the Lord of Time had fallen. It was perplexing. Their worldview was shattered twice in one day. As beings who had lived countless years and stood at the peak of existence, it was hard to accept. Oldine Head mused.
The cause must be in the origin land. There was a disturbance there earlier. We tried to go but were stopped by the Candle Dragon, who sealed the origin land. Then the Lord of Time fell must be related to the Candle Dragon.
The Lord of Power said.
Impossible. The Candle Dragon wouldn't do that. He's a manager, not an enemy.
The Human Emperor said.
Earlier, I sensed Taoist Lin enter the origin land. Could it have been him?
Oldine Head said.
No need to guess. The origin land can't stay sealed forever. When we see Taoist Lin, we'll just ask him.
The Human Emperor agreed.
That's all we can do.
Despite being Eternals, they were anxious in the face of the unknown, no different from ordinary people. They didn't know what had happened in the origin land, nor if the Lord of Time's fall would affect their own deaths. All they could do was wait. Inside the origin land, the Spirit of Time finally took control of the entire Tao of Time. The River of Time descended, merging with the Tao of Time, countless streams flowing into it. The two were always interdependent, and now their union was seamless. The Tao of Time became the earth, the River of Time, the sky. They formed an independent world. The Spirit of Time now controlled both, fusing their powers through himself. His aura rose rapidly, undergoing a qualitative change. The aura of eternity spread through the origin land, along the Tao of Time, radiating in all directions. Wherever they were, all cultivators of the Tao of Time who had reached the Tao realm sensed the Spirit of Time's presence. Within the Tao of Time, he was supreme.
Faith.
The Spirit of Time shouted, his voice echoing in the souls of all Tao of Time cultivators. Instantly, a torrent of faith surged into him, giving him the final boost to step into eternity. He grew stronger, the aura of eternity thickened, and at last he became the new Lord of Time. He didn't need to knock on the gate of eternity, nor did he make a big scene. He simply became eternal, mastering both the river and the Tao of Time, surpassing all previous Lords of Time. The Human Emperor and others were shocked. The Lord of Time had just fallen, and now a new one had appeared. Their curiosity about what had happened in the origin land grew even stronger. The Spirit of Time bowed to Lin Moyu.
Thank you for your help. I will never break my word. Call on me whenever you need.
Lin Moyu smiled.
All right.
The Spirit of Time bowed to the Candle Dragon, then vanished into the River of Time. The Candle Dragon asked,
What do you want him to do for you?
Lin Moyu replied,
Many things are hidden in the River of Time. Some have been erased, but the Spirit of Time is clever. He remembered them in advance.
The Candle Dragon frowned.
What exactly?
Lin Moyu shook his head.
It's better if you don't know. The karma is too great. It could affect your transcendence.
The Candle Dragon was startled, realizing something, and stopped asking. Lin Moyu said,
All right, that matter's settled. Now it's time for mine.
Chapter 4162. I think it's not worth it. The power of death continued to erode the Cursed Dao, and by now, a tenth of it had been worn away. The Cursed Dao was much stronger than the light Dao that Lin Moyu had previously shattered, and as the process went on, the rate of erosion slowed. After a tenth had been consumed, the speed was only half of what it was at the start. If things continued at this pace, it would only get slower, likely taking several centuries or even 1,000 years. Although Lin Moyu had patience, he didn't want to waste so much time. He had already thought of other methods. With a thought, he unleashed an even greater surge of soul power, widening the soul channel. Candle Dragon frowned.
What are you trying to do?
Lin Moyu replied casually.
Speed things up a bit. It's too slow right now.
The soul channel expanded greatly. With a tap of his finger, A crimson light shot from Lin Moyu's fingertip and landed on the cursed Dao. The crimson light transformed into a hell of bones, crashing down as countless hellish fiends swarmed the cursed Dao, gnawing at it madly. The power of death could corrode anything, while the hellish fiends could devour anything. Their effects were similar, but not the same. What was corroded by the power of death would eventually become nothingness. What was devoured by the hellish fiends would become their own power. The hellish fiends had once devoured a Dao, but it was only a shadow, not the actual Dao. They had gained some benefit from that, but now they were devouring a real, powerful origin Dao that had entered the origin land. If they could devour it, the hell of bones would become much stronger. The only question was whether they could actually bite through it. 50 million hellish fiends gnawed at the cursed Dao, their sharp teeth scraping against it with an unpleasant screech. To Lin Moyu, it was like beautiful music. Under their relentless assault, tiny cracks appeared on the cursed Dao, fragments breaking off and being devoured by the fiends. It was a gluttonous feast for them. Candle Dragon squinted.
Your technique is very strange.
Lin Moyu said.
Doesn't matter if it's strange, as long as it's strong enough.
Candle Dragon remarked.
If they get any stronger, I think they could even devour a realm.
Lin Moyu replied.
Shouldn't be a problem. If I get the chance, I'll let them try a realm.
Candle Dragon's words were something Lin Moyu had already anticipated. As long as the hell of bones kept growing, maybe one day it really could devour a realm. For now, they could already consume entire worlds, so eating a realm in the future seemed only natural. With the help of the hellish fiends, the cursed Dao's rate of collapse sped up, more than doubling. At this rate, it would take just 100 or 200 years. Still, Lin Moyu wasn't satisfied. He knew the speed was already fast, but he wondered if he could make it even faster. Unknowingly, he had begun treating the cursed Dao as his experiment. To further accelerate the process, the best way was to strengthen the Immortal Dao. If the power of death grew, so would the rate of erosion. Alternatively, strengthening the hell of bones would help too, but that was not easy. It required the cooperation of the Great Thousand World and many external factors. Now that the hell of bones was devouring the cursed Dao, it was growing stronger, and the power it absorbed was also flowing into the Great Thousand World, making it stronger as well. This was a mutually reinforcing cycle, but the speed was slow and required time. After some thought, Lin Moyu decided to focus on the Immortal Dao. He had two paths to take for his final step, both rooted in the Immortal Dao, so strengthening it would also help him reach that last step. Since he'd have to walk this path eventually, he might as well use this perfect test subject now. Becoming eternal and mastering an entire Dao was not the end. The final step lay before every eternal, a path they all wanted to take, but feared to tread. Lin Moyu already knew how to make a Dao stronger and how to gain a deeper understanding of it. The answer came from the soulless beast. The soulless beast purified a filth pool, the beast emperor restored it, the soulless beast purified it again, and so on. The pool changed several times. The principle was to leap from one extreme to another, then back again. Each time the limit was surpassed, one became stronger. Surpassing limits was difficult, and when power changed qualitatively, it could become uncontrollable. With luck, one could achieve a breakthrough, not just growing stronger but also changing in nature. This was the principle of
extremes meet.
But if control was lost during the qualitative change, it could be disastrous. At best, one would be gravely injured and need to sleep for tens of thousands of years. At worst, one could fall into dormancy. Moreover, surpassing limits wasn't something one could just do at will. Eternals had to make many preparations. That's why the Lord of Curses had entered the great wilderness's core, seeking the filthiest power to help himself surpass his limits, but he failed from the start. What was so difficult for others was much simpler for Lin Moyu. He had encountered the principle of
extremes meet
early in his cultivation, so it wasn't hard for him. The Immortal Dao naturally possessed two opposite powers, letting him control his strength even when surpassing limits. But this also brought trouble. He needed to push both life and death powers to their limits and have them surpass the limit together to maintain balance and stability. With a thought, Lin Moyu withdrew the power of death, leaving only the hellish fiends to gnaw at the Dao. Candle Dragon asked.
Giving up?
Lin Moyu shook his head.
Just looking for a better way. I don't want to waste so much time.
Candle Dragon said.
A few hundred years isn't long.
Lin Moyu shook his head.
To waste a few hundred years on something so minor, I think it's not worth it. Destroying a Dao is a minor thing?
Candle Dragon snorted.
You're really something.
Lin Moyu replied.
You've lived too long. Time means nothing to you. But it's different for me.
He hadn't lived that long, so a few hundred years was a big deal. Candle Dragon said no more, letting Lin Moyu do as he pleased. Either way, the cursed Dao was doomed. It was just a matter of sooner or later. Lin Moyu withdrew the power of death and began mobilizing both life and death forces from the Immortal Dao. He compressed both powers, making them stronger and stronger. Two vortices appeared in the Immortal Dao, one filled with life force, the other with death. Each vortex gathered a vast amount of Dao power, and at their centers, all the power was compressed into two crystals. One was white, containing pure life force. The other was gray, filled with death. The crystals grew until they were the size of fists, then stopped. The power in either crystal was enough to destroy a world. If the death crystal were thrown into the origin continent, it would die in an instant, world dead, all beings extinct. Even the life crystal would be the same. Too much life force is toxic, and the world would collapse under it. Chapter 4163. Are you trying to ascend? Zhulong stared fixedly at the two vortices within the undying Great Dao, gritting his teeth and speaking in a low voice.
What are you trying to do?
He had a feeling that if the two crystals Lin Moyu was gathering exploded, the entire origin land would suffer. Although the various Great Daos themselves wouldn't be affected, as the administrator under the rules, he would inevitably be caught in the crossfire and suffer the punishment of heaven and earth. Of course, he could withstand such punishment, but there was no need. Who would want to get beaten up for no reason, especially for someone else's mistake? Lin Moyu said.
Don't be nervous. I know what I'm doing.
Zhulong snapped.
You're a madman. What do you mean you know what you're doing?
Lin Moyu chuckled.
This madman can help you transcend, so bear with it.
That one sentence left Zhulong speechless. Since he needed something from Lin Moyu, he could only swallow his anger. He thought to himself,
when I transcend, I'll make you pay.
Suddenly, Lin Moyu said,
and don't think about getting back at me after you transcend. Chaos isn't a friendly place, and the first one you'll have to deal with is the soul devourer, not me.
Zhulong's pupils shrank abruptly. Lin Moyu was right. Once he completed his transcendence, the first thing he'd face would be the soul devourer. Only after overcoming the soul devourer could he truly complete his transcendence and enter chaos. But he didn't know much about what awaited in chaos. Zhulong looked at Lin Moyu.
Do you know what's in chaos?
Lin Moyu shook his head.
Of course not. I've never been there. But I know it's not peaceful. Just look at the dead end. The chaotic beings that occasionally come in, none of them are easy to deal with. When you go, you'll have to fight, and fight a lot. So you'd better save your strength for then.
Zhulong felt Lin Moyu's words made sense, but also sensed he was hiding something. After a moment's thought, Zhulong asked quietly,
Are you sure I can transcend?
Lin Moyu replied,
I have a good idea of the path you're taking. I'd say you have an 80% chance of succeeding. Your path is different from ours, and it really does suit you.
Zhulong's chosen path was to condense filth, form the power of filth, and use this fundamental force of the world to transcend. He didn't need to surpass the Great Dao, since he didn't possess one himself. He just needed enough power to complete transcendence. With Lin Moyu's words, Zhulong felt confident about his path. But then he wondered, why did he trust Lin Moyu so much? Zhulong had studied Lin Moyu's history and found that whatever Lin Moyu did or said almost always came true. So, subconsciously, he believed Lin Moyu must be right. Shaking off these messy thoughts, Zhulong tried to maintain his lofty demeanor. But the next moment his eyes narrowed in tension. Lin Moyu was actually moving the two vortices closer together. The vortices held entirely different powers, and if they collided, they could explode. Not to mention the two crystals at their centers concentrated essences of life and death. Zhulong sweated for the whole origin land. If this blew up, most of it would probably be destroyed. Yet Lin Moyu was still calm.
Don't worry, I've done this before.
He really had, and more than once, so Lin Moyu wasn't worried at all. But no matter what he said, Zhulong couldn't help but be nervous. The two vortices slowly approached and finally touched. Boom! The undying Great Dao shook violently, and even the origin land trembled. Zhulong instinctively thought it was about to explode, but it didn't. The two vortices actually fused together. Seeing Lin Moyu's composed expression, Zhulong realized he'd been too nervous. After all, he'd lived since the dawn of the world. He shouldn't be so easily rattled. Lin Moyu didn't care what Zhulong was thinking. He was fully focused on controlling the two vortices. The collision was only the first step. The real challenge was with the two crystals compressed to the extreme. When the power of the Great Dao is compressed to the limit, you can't make the leap alone. You need some external force as a catalyst. The advantage of the undying Great Dao was that it inherently possessed both types of power, so each could serve as the other's catalyst. The two crystals, compressed to the extreme, drew closer and finally collided. Thunderous booms echoed from the undying Great Dao, shaking the entire origin land and even the origin ancestral land. Zhulong forced himself to watch. After the collision, the power within the two crystals erupted and began to change. The power of life turned into the power of death, and the power of death transformed into the power of life, affecting the vortices and, in turn, the entire undying Great Dao. The once distinct powers of life and death swapped places, completing the transformation. In the process, the undying Great Dao grew stronger. Both life and death powers increased by over 30%. He actually did it. Zhulong found it hard to believe. He understood the principle but didn't think Lin Moyu could succeed so easily. Other Eternals had chased this for countless years, and Lin Moyu just did it like that. It was unbelievable. But then again, wasn't success a good thing? If he'd failed, the origin land would have blown up. Zhulong felt conflicted. He'd never had so many thoughts in one day. With one reversal, the powers of life and death leapt from one extreme to the other, strengthening by more than 30%. But Lin Moyu didn't think it was enough. Zhulong said quietly,
You succeeded, now you can keep grinding away. You're doing it again?
His words cut off in a strangled cry. Lin Moyu was gathering Great Dao power again, forming two new vortices. Lin Moyu said,
Once isn't enough. Only 30% stronger. I think I can do this a few more times.
Zhulong replied,
A few more times? Are you trying to ascend to the heavens?
Lin Moyu chuckled.
Relax, I know what I'm doing. Know what you're doing, my foot.
Zhulong thought. Other Eternals couldn't even cross the extreme once, and Lin Moyu did it easily and wanted to keep going? Zhulong even had the wild idea that Lin Moyu might be trying to take his final step and transcend right here. He blurted out,
Are you trying to take the final step?
Lin Moyu said,
It's not that easy. Right now, I'm just trying to grind down the cursed Great Dao and kill that guy. The final step is still far off.
Zhulong had given up trying to reason with Lin Moyu.
Do whatever you want, but remember what you promised me. If you really do take the final step, you have to finish my business first.
Lin Moyu replied seriously.
Don't worry, I always keep my word.
Zhulong suddenly said,
And what about what you promised the Sword Emperor to kill Tun Yuan? Did you do it?
Chapter 4164. If you're tired, why not rest? Back when he promised the Sword Emperor to kill Tun Yuan, Lin Moyu hadn't actually made a move. Now Tun Yuan had already gone with the Spirit Demon clan to the Chaos, so even if he wanted to kill him, he couldn't. But Lin Moyu had left himself an out.
I never said when I'd do it.
Zhulong snorted dismissively, clearly looking down on Lin Moyu's approach. Lin Moyu had essentially tricked the Sword Emperor, though the Sword Emperor didn't know it yet. But Lin Moyu was thick-skinned.
If I see Tun Yuan again, I'll fulfill my promise. I always keep my word.
Zhulong snorted again, even more disdainful, but couldn't break through Lin Moyu's shamelessness. So Lin Moyu just ignored him. 2 more vortices formed, and at their centers, 2 crystals containing astonishing power slowly emerged. The powers of life and death were compressed to the limit by Lin Moyu, even stronger than before. Zhulong tensed up again. If this attempt exploded, the origin land wouldn't just be half destroyed, but completely shattered. The rules of the world would then bring down heavy punishment, and both he and Lin Moyu would suffer. They wouldn't die, but injury was inevitable.
Be careful.
Zhulong's voice grew lower, unable to hide his worry. He clearly didn't want to say it, but couldn't help himself. He had to be concerned. If he was injured, it could affect his transcendence. Lin Moyu, on the other hand, wouldn't be in trouble if he died. He'd just revive. So Lin Moyu could act recklessly, but Zhulong couldn't. Lin Moyu saw through his thoughts and joked.
Worried this will affect your transcendence?
Zhulong insisted.
Why would I worry? I'm the manager of the rules. The rules won't harm me.
Lin Moyu laughed.
Then you really don't need to worry. At worst, I die, but I'm not afraid of death.
Zhulong snorted.
Still, be careful. If the origin land is damaged, it won't be easy to repair, and the whole realm will be thrown into chaos, affecting countless worlds and beings. I know. This realm really is troublesome, just missing a true master.
Lin Moyu muttered. Zhulong's eyes narrowed, immediately guessing Lin Moyu's ultimate goal was to become the master of the realm. Becoming the realm's master was no easy task, and Zhulong instinctively thought Lin Moyu was being unrealistic. But recalling Lin Moyu's experiences, it seemed possible. Still, it wasn't his concern. His path was different. Boom! The 2 vortices of life and death collided again, shaking space and making the origin land tremble. The vortices successfully merged, marking a preliminary success, followed by the collision of the 2 Dao crystals. Each crystal contained terrifying Dao power, compressed to the utmost Lin Moyu's current limit. Only by reaching his own limit could he hope to cross extremes, so he went all out, leaving no way back. Zhulong fell silent, seeing Lin Moyu had used all his strength to control the 2 crystals. He even thought Lin Moyu seemed a bit nervous. The tension grew as the crystals slowly drew closer and finally touched. Boom! The origin land shook violently, the immense power breaking through its seal and spreading outward. All Eternals and Dao Lords in the origin ancestral land felt the surge. Zhulong, tense, stared at Lin Moyu, who was equally focused on the crystals before him. He used his strength to keep the crystals stable. Life and death, 2 opposite forces. If they clashed, the resulting power would be unimaginable. What Lin Moyu needed was power infinitely close to the limit. Only by reaching the limit could he hope to surpass it and reach the other extreme. The undying Dao split into life and death, constantly channeling power into the crystals, replenishing what was consumed and keeping them at peak strength. After 10 seconds of stalemate, the crystals changed. A hint of white appeared on the gray death crystal. A faint gray covered the white life crystal. Their natures began to shift, not from outside, but from within. During the collision, their power collapsed inward, compressing the Dao power even further. This compression broke the limit, and using each other as a catalyst, they moved toward the opposite extreme. Zhulong saw this and whispered.
It worked.
Lin Moyu echoed.
It worked.
The 2 crystals rapidly changed nature. Life became death. Death became life, their auras swelling to nearly double what they were before. Every time an extreme was crossed, the power increased significantly, each crossing building on the last. Lin Moyu sensed that after 2 crossings, the power of the undying Dao had surpassed any other Dao in the 5 world realms, more than double what it was when he first achieved eternity. Zhulong asked,
Are you going to keep going?
Lin Moyu shook his head.
This is my limit. If I want to go further, it'll depend on my luck.
Zhulong said.
All right, finish up so I can go rest.
Lin Moyu nodded, sending out dense death power along the soul channel to the Cursed Dao. The death power ignored the Cursed Dao's defenses, splitting into countless ant-sized avatars that gnawed at the Cursed Dao like hellish fiends. Though tiny, their teeth were unbreakable, biting through anything. In no time, the Cursed Dao had a gap, and its Dao power was being devoured, much like the hellish fiend's effect. Lin Moyu calculated that at this rate, it would take about 10 years to finish. 10 years was a lot, but acceptable. Zhulong, seeing Lin Moyu stop, joked,
Why not keep going? If you compress more, you'll devour it faster.
Lin Moyu shook his head.
It's not that I don't want to, but I can't. Compressing to this level is my limit anymore and I'd collapse.
Zhulong heard the fatigue in Lin Moyu's voice.
If you're tired, why not rest?
Lin Moyu thought of his wives.
Sometimes it's not that I don't want to rest, but someone keeps pushing you forward.
Chapter 4165. Do not be my enemy. There was a hint of helplessness in Lin Moyu's words. He was simply stating the truth. Ever since he met the man in the green robe, ever since his wife was taken away, Lin Moyu had been unable to stop. He could only keep moving forward, breaking through obstacles step by step, climbing ever higher. Now he had become eternal, standing at the pinnacle of the realms, just one step away from transcendence. The man in the green robe, once unimaginably distant, was now within Lin Moyu's faint sight. That man was a supreme of heaven and earth, an invincible being in the chaos, a level even higher than a transcendent. When Lin Moyu realized the man in the green robe was a supreme, he felt a subtle sense of relief. The unknown is always the most terrifying and hopeless. Now that he knew the man's realm, he knew the distance between them. As long as he could see him, he could catch up. Because of one sentence from the Candle Dragon, Lin Moyu's thoughts churned. His aura surged, reflecting his unsettled heart. Having just exerted himself fully and strengthened his Dao, even his Dao heart was stirred, leading him to these thoughts. The Candle Dragon did not disturb Lin Moyu. He had paid attention to Lin Moyu before and vaguely sensed this would happen. After a while, Lin Moyu's aura returned to normal, and his tone calmed.
This is the limit of what I can do right now. My strength is still not enough.
The Candle Dragon replied,
It's enough. You've surpassed most Eternals, only a few can compare to you.
Lin Moyu continued to wield the power of death, corroding the Dao of curses, wearing it down bit by bit. 10 years, then 10 years more. Lin Moyu had decided to utterly destroy it and would not stop until he succeeded. For those 10 years, he went nowhere. Bound by the rules of heaven and earth, the Candle Dragon could not leave either. The two simply stared at each other, together in that place. Lin Moyu said,
Once I finish off the Lord of Curses, I'll help you with your matter.
The Candle Dragon nodded.
All right.
He had previously thought Lin Moyu, having just become eternal, would need time to adapt. But now he saw that wasn't necessary at all. Lin Moyu's control over his power was astonishing. Not only did he master his own strength perfectly, but he could also cross extremes and accomplish things others could not in countless years. The origin land gradually quieted, the only sound being the spirits of hell gnawing at the Dao of curses. Occasionally, Lin Moyu would chat with the Candle Dragon. The Candle Dragon had lived for countless years and knew almost everything that had happened in heaven and earth. Lin Moyu learned many interesting things from him. To the Candle Dragon, heaven and earth were like a giant stage, with cultivators as actors fighting to the death over things he found laughable. 10 years passed quickly. For many cultivators, 10 years was just a short seclusion, or even the length of a grand banquet. Some banquets could last decades or centuries. To many, 10 years was a blink easily wasted. But to Lin Moyu, 10 years was not short. He could accomplish a lot. The origin land was sealed for 10 years. The Eternals went from being puzzled to getting used to it, almost forgetting the origin land existed. Finally, after 10 years, the origin land reopened. The Eternals entered at once, without a word. The origin land seemed unchanged. The Daos flowed quietly, separated by the rules of heaven and earth. They saw Lin Moyu standing quietly on the undying Dao. The Dao of time was also there, undisturbed, as if the fall of the Lord of Time had been a dream. Everything seemed calm, with no problems. But if there was nothing wrong, why had the Candle Dragon sealed the origin land? The Lord of Power's startled cry shattered the calm. He stared ahead in disbelief, his aura surging like thunder through the origin land. Everyone followed his gaze and their faces changed dramatically, their eyes wide with unprecedented shock. Each Eternal lost their composure. The scene before them shattered their understanding. Where the Tao of curses should have been was empty. There were no rules of heaven and earth, as if a giant hole had opened in the origin land. The Lord of Power's voice trembled.
The Tao of curses, how is it gone?
The human emperor said gravely,
The Tao of curses has vanished. The Lord of curses has fallen. But why did we feel nothing? Heaven and earth didn't react at all. 10 years ago, when the Lord of Time fell, heaven and earth mourned, and the whole realm was plunged into grief. They all sensed it.
That event had shown them that even Eternals could die. But this time, the Tao of curses had collapsed, and the Lord of curses should have fallen. Yet heaven and earth showed no reaction. Oldine Head looked at Lin Moyu.
Taoist Lin, what exactly happened?
Everyone looked at him in unison, knowing he must be involved. Lin Moyu glanced over. All the Eternals were present except in Yuyen. No one knew where she was. He spoke calmly.
Are you asking about the Lord of Time, or the Tao of curses?
Oldine Head hesitated, then smiled.
Both.
His words clearly represented the others' thoughts. They all wanted to know what had happened in those 10 years. Lin Moyu said,
It's actually very simple. The Spirit of Time and the Lord of Time had a deep grudge. I also had some past issues with the Lord of Time, so I helped the Spirit of Time get rid of him and let the Spirit of Time take his place as the new Lord of Time.
No need for details, this was enough. Now that the Tao of Time had a new master, any objections were moot. Besides, according to the Spirit of Time, the old Lord of Time had no real friendships among the Eternals. At that moment, the Tao of Time surged, and the Spirit of Time appeared from the Tao, bowing to the group.
Time greets all fellow Taoists.
They hurriedly returned the greeting.
Congratulations, Lord of Time.
A new Lord of Time had never appeared before, but it wasn't unacceptable. Lin Moyu continued.
As for the Tao of curses, you all know I had a grudge with the Lord of curses. I personally forced him into dormancy, but he was vengeful. If he ever returned after thousands of years, he'd be a nuisance, so I destroyed the Tao of curses and sent him to his end.
Oldine Head said.
But we didn't sense an Eternal's fall.
Lin Moyu replied.
The Tao of curses isn't completely destroyed yet. One last step remains. Since you're all here, I invite you to witness it.
The Candle Dragon had not wanted to let them in, but Lin Moyu's words changed his mind. Lin Moyu wanted to show everyone through his actions. Do not be my enemy. Even Eternals he could kill. He took out the cause-seeking ring and activated it.
Seek the cause, ask the result.
Chapter 4166. So this is chaos. The causality-seeking ring activated, and Lin Moyu used it to lock onto the final location of the cursed Great Dao. Once a Great Dao enters the origin land, it forms a mysterious connection with the core of the realm. The natural formation evolved by the divine rune corresponding to that Dao becomes stronger and moves closer to the most important spot in the realm's core. In other words, a Dao that enters the origin land gains a different status within the realm's core. This is set by the rules, a natural result of the realm's evolution. The portion of the cursed Great Dao that entered the origin land had been completely erased, but a final essence remained, hidden within the divine rune at the realm's core. If this rune isn't destroyed, that essence will, under the rules, eventually evolve again, recreating the cursed Great Dao in the origin land. Of course, this process is very slow, but as long as Lin Moyu occasionally intervenes, the Lord of Curses will never rise again. However, Lin Moyu doesn't have the time to keep managing this. If he wants to destroy the cursed Great Dao completely, he must destroy the divine rune in the realm's core. Zhulong had told him that destroying a Dao and shattering its divine rune would shake the realm's core and throw the world into chaos for a while. At first, Zhulong didn't give specific reasons, but after 10 years of conversations, he gradually explained why. This is also the ultimate secret behind why Eternals are almost never killed. Without knowing this, Lin Moyu wouldn't have realized that a Dao in the origin land is still connected to the divine rune in the realm's core. Upon learning all this, Lin Moyu decided to put on a show for others. He wanted everyone to know how powerful his methods were, to cement his unmatched status across the 5 world realms, and to make sure no one dared provoke him. It was a warning to others.
Kill the chicken to scare the monkeys.
Tactic, he thought. During the backlash from the causality-seeking ring, his body and soul shattered again, then were reborn in purple light. The answer he got from seeking cause and effect this time was weighty, and the backlash from the ring was stronger than before again. Both his body and soul collapsed. Lin Moyu could clearly feel that the causal power used by the ring was not from this realm's causality great Dao. The backlash carried the power of chaos, making it hard to endure. If he could transcend, with his body and soul turned chaotic, he could wield the causality-seeking ring freely. But even now, he could use it. At worst, he'd just die a few times. The one who gave him the ring had calculated that he was the only one in the realm who could use it. After the backlash, the causality-seeking ring was fully activated. A faint light shot from the ring, directly locking onto the last essence of the cursed great Dao and opening a space-time channel. Instantly, divine runes and naturally evolved grand formations appeared before everyone's eyes, and the Eternals exclaimed in shock.
It's the realm's core. The most mysterious place in legend. I always thought it was just a myth. I can't believe it's real.
The realm's core is the most mysterious place, even to Eternals. None had ever truly seen it. Lin Moyu's actions today opened their eyes. Lin Moyu declared,
I will personally destroy the cursed great Dao. When I do, the world may be thrown into a brief chaos. If your worlds are affected, I apologize in advance.
He spoke politely, but his attitude was firm. The apology was really just a notification. Faced with such a powerful Lin Moyu, none of the Eternals dared object. Who would dare provoke someone who could erase a Dao in the origin land and open the realm's core at will? Anyone who crossed Lin Moyu could easily be killed by him. They had lived for countless years, but the longer they lived, the less they wanted to die. Lin Moyu's aura began to rise, quickly reaching the peak of half-step transcendence, just a hair's breadth from true transcendence. At that moment, he stood at the pinnacle of the world, his overwhelming pressure shaking the origin land and making even the Eternals present tremble with fear. Lin Moyu's current state was something they had pursued for countless years and never reached. Yet this newly ascended Eternal achieved it so easily. Their old faces stung with shame. They knew Lin Moyu was strong, but only now, up close, did they realize how strong. Lin Moyu had reached the realm's limit, but this was not his true limit, nor what he wanted to show. He shouted,
Shulong, I'll need your help.
Zhulong slowly appeared in the void this time, not just his eyes, but his true form. This signaled to all that what was about to happen would be extraordinary. Zhulong glanced at Lin Moyu, then his aura rose as he slowly closed his eyes. Instantly, the origin land darkened, and all rules fell silent. Zhulong used his power to pause the operation of the realm's rules. As the rules paused, Lin Moyu's aura surged again. Bang! It was as if glass shattered. In that instant, Lin Moyu's gaze pierced through the world. Seeing beyond it, countless soul-devouring spirits appeared, and beyond them, boundless chaos. So this is what lies outside the realm.
Hurry!
Zhulong's voice urged in his ear. Lin Moyu withdrew all thoughts. Zhulong was shielding him from the rules. Otherwise, he would have been expelled from the world the moment he broke through.
World-ending palm.
He unleashed his strongest attack. The palm imprint, though not large, carried unimaginable power and shot along the channel opened by the causality-seeking ring, blasting into the realm's core and striking the divine formation corresponding to the cursed great Dao. After the strike, Lin Moyu's body shattered, but he was instantly reborn, his eyes fixed on the result. Zhulong withdrew his power, and the rules began to flow again. The Eternals were all horrified. They felt that if Lin Moyu had used that palm against them, they would have died without question. They watched as the palm imprint struck the divine rune's formation, shattering it, then crushed the rune itself. With the rune destroyed, the balance of the realm's core was broken, setting off a massive upheaval. Boom! The core shook violently, The entire realm quaked as if in an earthquake. The great Daos trembled, the origin land shook, and all Dao powers fell into chaos. The anomaly at the core quickly spread to the origin land, then to the ancestral land, and on to the myriad worlds. Zhulong roared, using the rules to stabilize the worlds. At the same time, a flood of karma rushed toward Lin Moyu.
All karma, I will bear it.
Lin Moyu shouted, taking all the karma upon himself to shield the myriad worlds from disaster. Chapter 4167, He is Invincible. Endless karma pierced through the void, surging into the origin land, rushing toward Lin Moyu. The divine rune of world destruction shattered the cursed Dao, causing chaos throughout heaven and earth. The consequences of this act were unimaginable. Countless living beings could die as a result, and the accumulated karma would be beyond comprehension. Originally, part of this karma would be borne by Lin Moyu, and the rest by Candle Dragon. Candle Dragon, of course, did not want to bear any of this karma. He feared that such immense karma would affect his own plans for transcendence. So he never intended to tell Lin Moyu that the last essence of the cursed Dao was left in the core of the realm. Simply destroying the cursed Dao in the origin land would not truly annihilate it. But this couldn't be hidden from Lin Moyu. Whether a Dao had been shattered, or whether the Lord of Curses had truly perished, could be sensed. There was no way to deceive anyone. Candle Dragon tactfully explained his thoughts to Lin Moyu, and after some discussion, Lin Moyu agreed to bear all the karma himself. Only then did Candle Dragon reveal the final location of the cursed Dao to Lin Moyu. Knowing Lin Moyu had a treasure that could use karma to pinpoint and lock onto the cursed Dao. Now, as karma surged madly, Candle Dragon, to avoid affecting the origin land, used his authority to open up a separate channel for this karma, something they had agreed upon beforehand.
Faith.
Lin Moyu shouted. In the Great Thousand World, countless beings simultaneously contributed vast amounts of faith power to Lin Moyu. This faith power could offset some of the karma, but only a portion. Over 70% of the karma still fell on Lin Moyu. Even just 70% of the karmic backlash was more than Lin Moyu could bear. Bang! Lin Moyu's physical body exploded, shattering to pieces, and even his soul was torn apart. The matter was so grave that all the Eternals present could feel the wrath of heaven and earth. Not just Lin Moyu, any of them would have perished under the first wave of karmic impact, their Daos falling into dormancy. Of course, they wouldn't truly die, but with such immense karma entangling them, who knew how many years it would take to return? At that moment, some thought Lin Moyu was being foolish. Even if he had a grudge with the Lord of Curses, it wasn't worth sacrificing himself. But in the next second, a flash of purple light appeared, and Lin Moyu was reborn, fresh and alive. Even the punishment of the world's rules could not stop his rebirth. The karmic backlash did not come in just one wave. It surged like a storm, wave after wave. Lin Moyu did not know how the world's rules calculated karma. Candle Dragon had warned him that the karma would be enormous. The world might use destiny to calculate all possible future consequences, factoring in everything that might happen. After all, what Lin Moyu had done touched the very bottom line of heaven and earth, affecting the core of the realm, so the punishment was bound to be severe. Just after being reborn, Lin Moyu's body and soul shattered again. He died once more, but only a second later he was reborn again. The punishment continued, with invisible forces crushing Lin Moyu. But every second he reappeared, full of life. He died again and was reborn again and again. Unknowingly, he had died dozens of times. The Eternals present were stunned. Lin Moyu simply could not die. After so many deaths, he revived every time. If it had been them, they would have been dormant for countless cycles by now. The punishment of heaven and earth was truly bizarre, wave after wave, never stopping. Surely, no matter how great the karma, it should end eventually. Candle Dragon's eyes were also strange. The severity and persistence of this punishment exceeded his expectations. He was also shocked by Lin Moyu's revival ability. To revive a few times was one thing, but now it seemed he simply could not die. Indeed, Lin Moyu could not die. After advancing to eternity, his innate abilities had strengthened. Now he could be reborn every second. If this pace continued, he could keep being reborn until the end of time. That was why he dared to take on all the karma. He simply wasn't worried. Now, there were very few things in this realm that could kill him. Even the punishment of heaven and earth could hardly do so. The human emperor sighed.
So this is the undying Dao.
Oldine Head agreed.
Yes, he simply can't die. Even heaven and earth can't do anything to him.
The Lord of Power said.
He's invincible. Heaven and earth can't kill him.
At this moment, in the eyes of the Eternals, Lin Moyu was truly invincible. While the Eternal strengths were similar, they had to admit that Lin Moyu was now far ahead of them. After dying 99 times, the punishment finally stopped, and the karmic backlash dissipated. The strongest punishment in history was finally over. Candle Dragon said,
Remember what you promised me.
Lin Moyu nodded.
I will.
After Candle Dragon disappeared, Lin Moyu turned to the Eternals with a smile.
Everyone, did you enjoy the show?
The human emperor laughed.
Taoist Lin, your performance truly opened our eyes. Now we finally know what the core of the realm is really like.
Oldine Head agreed.
Yes, we all knew there was a core, but we'd never seen it. Thanks to Taoist Lin, we finally have what an eye-opener.
Lin Moyu said.
Now that the origin land is missing a Dao, there's a vacant spot. I wonder who will be lucky enough to become the next Eternal.
This immediately stirred thoughts in everyone's hearts. Yes, with the cursed Dao gone, there was a vacancy in the origin land, and the gate would open. Even if it didn't, the next Dao Lord to try for eternity would have a much easier time. They all had friends, relatives, or juniors at the Dao Lord level. If they could help someone claim that spot, it would be ideal. Lin Moyu smiled.
All right, my business here is done. Time to fulfill my promise. Farewell, everyone, until we meet again.
His figure faded and he left the origin land. After Lin Moyu left, the Eternals also departed not just from the origin land, but from the Hungduan Mountains as well. They needed to spread the news of the vacancy so their people could try for it. Maybe one of them would become the next Eternal. Lin Moyu returned to the Hungduan Mountains, arriving at An Yuyen's palace. The palace had been sealed for many years, and the aura of karma inside showed that An Yuyen was in closed-door cultivation. Lin Moyu thought for a moment, then conjured a spirit flower, left a message in it, and turned to leave. The spirit flower floated in front of the palace, merging with the formation. When An Yuyen finished her cultivation, she would see Lin Moyu's message. Lin Moyu returned to the great wilderness, flying toward its center, where the dragon awaited him. Along the way, he saw many filth pools. Now, out of 108 pools, 78 had been purified by the soulless beast, who was growing ever stronger. The beast emperors seemed to have stopped trying to stop the soulless beast, as if they no longer cared. Chapter 4168. Candle Dragon's Path. Over the past 10 years, the soulless beast had lived quite comfortably, continuously purifying filth pools and countless wild beasts, growing ever stronger. The beast emperors seemed to have vanished, no longer interfering with him. It was as if, after the last battle, the wild beasts had been thoroughly defeated. Lin Moyu found this odd. He didn't believe the beast emperors would simply cower in fear.
They must be scheming something.
Lin Moyu thought as he arrived at the area of the royal pool. He saw no beast emperors. Looking through the royal pool, he noticed a beast emperor's body already present in the pool. Not only were the beast emperors absent, but even the wild beasts that should have been nearby had vanished without a trace. He flew past the royal pool and visited several special filth pools, but still saw no wild beasts. Inside the special pools, mutated beasts were being nurtured, unchanged from before. This only made Lin Moyu feel more uneasy. Of the countless wild beasts in the great wilderness, only a small portion remained. The ones left seemed to be there just for the soulless beast to purify. Given the beast emperor's intelligence, they would never just sit and wait for death. Before dying, they would surely counterattack. He just didn't know how. Lin Moyu decided not to interfere, leaving the wild beast problem to the soulless beast. Despite purifying so many wild beasts, the soulless beast still hadn't developed a soul. Lin Moyu remained clueless about the process of life's birth. There was no rushing this. He could only take things one step at a time. Entering the central region of the great wilderness, he arrived at the place Candle Dragon had mentioned. As space twisted, a spatial passage appeared on its own.
Come in.
Candle Dragon's voice called. Lin Moyu entered the passage. After a brief transmission, he arrived at Candle Dragon's domain. The statue of Candle Dragon still towered there, with pure, powerful filth power flowing within it. As one of the two fundamental forces of the world, filth power had reached the extreme, surpassing any individual Dao. Yet Lin Moyu sensed that Candle Dragon was still one step away. If he could go further, the filth power he'd gathered would undergo a qualitative change. At that point, he would not only surpass the world's Daos, but also transcend this realm and enter chaos itself. He could use this power to achieve a chaotic body and complete his transcendence. Lin Moyu asked,
How do you want me to help?
Candle Dragon replied quietly,
I'm just one step away now. I need the essence of a soul-devouring spirit. You want me to kill a soul-devouring spirit? Why not do it yourself? With your power, it should be no problem. I can't act.
Candle Dragon said.
As the administrator of the world's rules, I can't leave this world at will. You should know, the filth power I've gathered is made from Dao impurities, while soul-devouring spirits are formed from the world's impurities. You can think of them as another type of wild beast. Only by fusing both types of impurity can my filth power become perfect, allowing me to transcend the boundaries of this world and break free from the rules.
Lin Moyu understood. The world's rules both empowered and restricted Candle Dragon. As long as those rules existed, he couldn't leave the world and thus couldn't collect soul-devouring spirit essence, so he was destined never to transcend. This was the world's restriction on him, but it didn't completely block his path. He could seek help from others, but finding a cultivator capable of killing a soul-devouring spirit was nearly impossible. Throughout history, no Eternal had ever managed it. Soul-devouring spirits' immunity to the Dao meant they were impervious to cultivators. Candle Dragon had prepared for this step for years, but was stuck here. Now, with filth power ready, all he needed was the essence of a soul-devouring spirit to fill the last gap. When he saw Lin Moyu kill soul-devouring spirits in the chaotic domain of the Void Realm years ago, Candle Dragon's hopes were ignited. He'd been waiting for Lin Moyu to become eternal. Lin Moyu's progress had exceeded his expectations, and now transcendence seemed within reach. Candle Dragon said,
Only a soul-devouring spirit king possesses the essence I need. They are very strong, be careful.
Lin Moyu asked,
Before I act, tell me more about soul-devouring spirits.
Knowing one's enemy is key to victory. Lin Moyu knew little about them and needed more information. Candle Dragon, wanting Lin Moyu to succeed in one try, held nothing back. Though he couldn't leave the world, he had studied soul-devouring spirits extensively. Their habits, composition, and hierarchy were all clear to him. Soul-devouring spirits are very similar to Dao wild beasts. From weakest to strongest, they are ordinary soul-devouring spirits, soul-devouring spirit kings, and soul-devouring spirit emperors. Ordinary soul-devouring spirits aren't very strong, just a step below a Dao Lord, a bit stronger than a typical wild beast. A soul-devouring spirit king is equivalent to an eternal, while a soul-devouring spirit emperor surpasses eternity.
To deal with ordinary soul-devouring spirits, you just need to use 2 or more Daos at once. In history, some Dao Lords have killed them, but spirit kings and emperors are much stronger, and their Dao immunity is greater. They can be immune to multiple Daos at once, making them much harder to kill.
Candle Dragon's years of research had paid off, teaching Lin Moyu much. It turned out that soul-devouring spirits were only immune to individual Daos. If a Dao Lord attacked with one Dao, the spirit would become immune to that Dao. If the Dao Lord used 2 Daos simultaneously, the spirit could only be immune to one and would be injured by the other. But if 2 Dao Lords attacked with 2 different Daos, the soul-devouring spirit could become immune to both, so numbers didn't help. A soul-devouring spirit king could be immune to 10 Daos at once, a spirit emperor to 1,000. This escalation explained why spirit emperors were so formidable. Killing a spirit emperor was nearly impossible. Even a spirit king was extremely hard to kill, as no Dao Lord or Eternal could wield more than 10 Daos at once. Even if they could, the extra Daos wouldn't be strong enough to do much damage. Meanwhile, soul-devouring spirits could devour souls and Daos the longer the fight, the stronger they became, while the cultivator's strength waned. If tainted by their power, one's own strength would weaken and cultivation would suffer. Lin Moyu asked Candle Dragon,
Have you tried sending others to deal with soul-devouring spirits before?
Some research can't be done without real experiments. For Candle Dragon to have such detailed results, he must have run many trials. Candle Dragon didn't answer directly.
That's not important. Your technique should be enough to handle a soul-devouring spirit king. Just kill a few and bring me 3 portions of their essence.
Chapter 4169. Entering the Extra-Dimensional Realm. Candle Dragon's request seemed simple, but it was actually far from easy to accomplish. The number of soul-devouring spirit kings was nothing like the number of beast kings. According to Candle Dragon, after years of observation, he was certain there were only 3 soul-devouring spirit emperors among the soul-devouring spirits, and fewer than 1,000 soul-devouring spirit kings. In the vast expanse outside the world's boundaries, finding even one soul-devouring spirit king was already difficult, let alone at least 3. Not every spirit king possessed soul-devouring essence either. With bad luck, one might need to hunt down even more. However, Lin Moyu wasn't worried.
I can use Origin Aura to lure them over.
In fact, dealing with them would require using Gather Power, so this method was inevitable. Candle Dragon replied,
I know, but there's a problem. If you attract a soul-devouring spirit emperor, you could be in real danger. Out there, I can help you.
Lin Moyu understood Candle Dragon's real concern. It wasn't just about his safety, but that if Lin Moyu died, there'd be no one left to help Candle Dragon transcend. He'd waited countless years for someone like Lin Moyu. If he missed this chance, who knew how long he'd have to wait again? Lin Moyu smiled easily.
Don't worry, I'm not that easy to kill. Tell me more about the soul-devouring spirit emperors. I've encountered one before, and they're indeed hard to deal with.
Candle Dragon said,
I know. That one is special, not an ordinary soul-devouring spirit emperor.
He explained further. The soul-devouring spirit emperor behind the door had entered the real world, and Candle Dragon was well aware of it, though he didn't intervene. Even if he had, he couldn't have killed it. At most, he could have banished it. That soul-devouring spirit emperor was indeed unique. It didn't originate from this domain, but was a remnant from another, now dead domain. It had absorbed some of the power from the remains of that domain, making it even stronger than other emperors. It also possessed intelligence. If it couldn't win, it would escape. So unless it caused major trouble, Candle Dragon wouldn't act. Candle Dragon knew Lin Moyu was searching for that door and wanted to return, so he hadn't interfered. The destruction of several worlds was a trivial matter to Candle Dragon.
The Myriad Spirits Pavilion's domain is already dead. The space behind that door is a remnant of a dead domain, a relic left after its demise. The domain is gone, and all the soul-devouring spirits that once enveloped it are gone too, except for that one special emperor who survived. It's much stronger than the average soul-devouring spirit emperor, certainly not something I could have handled back then.
Candle Dragon asked.
Any other questions?
Lin Moyu replied.
Not for now. Please open the passage and send me out.
Candle Dragon turned his head and bit off a scale from his own neck.
Take this. It will let you find your way back. Be careful out there. I won't be able to help you. Just watch.
Lin Moyu nodded and put the scale away. Candle Dragon activated the statue, not using the rules this time, but his own power to open a passage. The formation beneath the statue activated. The Dao cloud in the sky parted, revealing a pitch-black void. Beyond the void was the extra-dimensional realm, and this place was very close to it. Candle Dragon said,
For countless years, I've been using filth power to grind down the domain barrier. Here, the barrier is already very thin.
The domain barrier is what keeps out the soul-devouring spirits. As long as it exists, they can't invade. Long ago, the Kunlun Emperor, in pursuit of transcendence, broke through the domain barrier in the virtual realm, letting the soul-devouring spirits in. Candle Dragon's method was much more refined. He simply thinned the barrier enough to set up a teleportation array, letting himself be sent out. The barrier wasn't broken, so the soul-devouring spirits still couldn't get in, and everything remained safe. Filth power surged from the statue, and a formation appeared on the domain barrier, connecting both sides. Candle Dragon said,
"Enter the array. Be careful out there."
Lin Moyu nodded slightly and flew to the domain barrier, slipping into the formation. The array carried him through the barrier into the extra-dimensional realm, where a strange yet familiar aura greeted him. Lin Moyu felt as if this wasn't his first time here. The aura of the extra-dimensional realm was a mixture of domain and chaos, oddly familiar despite its strangeness. He recalled that he hadn't felt this way in the Kunlun Great Spirit domain, but since he couldn't find any memory of it, he let it go. Lin Moyu stood still, scanning the extra-dimensional world. Strictly speaking, this wasn't fully the extra-dimensional realm, yet it was still shrouded in the domain's power. The way home was right behind him. At most, this place was a
half
extra-dimensional realm. But Candle Dragon had warned that if he encountered a soul-devouring spirit emperor, he'd be in danger, meaning the emperor could prevent his return. Otherwise, there'd be no risk. On guard, Lin Moyu watched the space around him twist as his undead servants flew out in all directions. They hadn't gone far before discovering soul-devouring spirits. These spirits wandered aimlessly in the void, their soul flames strange and full of impurities, sometimes blazing, sometimes faint, utterly chaotic. This meant these ordinary soul-devouring spirits had no intelligence. Their chaotic souls also told Lin Moyu they were mad once provoked. They'd go berserk. Lin Moyu decided to provoke the mad ones. His undead servants could use the power of chaos and the Great Thousand World to resonate with the world's Daos and manipulate them. But he'd never tried having an undead servant control multiple Daos at once. At his command, one undead servant simultaneously wielded the gold and fire Daos from the 5 elements, merging their powers to create a flaming golden sword. The sword streaked through the void, slashing at a soul-devouring spirit. Ordinary soul-devouring spirits had power comparable to a Dao Lord, but against an undead servant nearly at the eternal level, they were helpless. The spirit instinctively resisted the Dao, but since the sword contained 2 Daos, it could only be immune to one. This spirit was immune to the fire Dao, but was torn apart by the gold Dao.
It works.
Lin Moyu was reassured if his undead servants could harm these spirits, then ordinary soul-devouring spirits were no longer a threat. The spirit's soul scattered, leaving behind fragments. Killing soul-devouring spirits yielded loot that could strengthen one's soul just as in the virtual realm. The undead servant brought it back, and Lin Moyu immediately refined it into soul powder. His own soul was already at its limit, so he didn't want to leave the domain too soon and refrained from absorbing it. He saved it for Xiao Mei and the other girls to use in cultivation. Chapter 4170. The Manager in Name Only. Cautiously, Lin Moyu dispatched more undead servants, sending them out in waves. They killed large numbers of soul devourers and brought back the resulting soul powder for Lin Moyu to refine. The amount of soul powder he possessed grew at an astonishing rate. Soul powder was a precious resource, highly beneficial for the soul and surpassing many top treasures within the realms, with the key advantage of having almost no side effects. Previously, Lin Moyu had collected a fair amount in the Void Kunlun, but he'd used it up shared among Xiaomei, Wu Daozuan, and others. Now, he had the chance to gather it in large quantities again, which he found very satisfying. He wasn't in a rush to seek out the Soul Devourer King. Such a good opportunity shouldn't be wasted by not collecting more soul powder. The outer void was just emptiness, there was no map, and the undead servants could go in any direction and would always encounter soul devourers. Lin Moyu had seen the outer world once before and knew that the densest soul devourer populations were farther from the boundary of the realms. The closer to the boundary, the fewer soul devourers there were. This distance was not small, over 1,000,000 li. The undead servants kept expanding their search, moving farther from the boundary. The farther they went, the weaker the Dao power provided by the boundary became. For ordinary cultivators, their strength would diminish the farther they went. This was one reason the Lord of Power had once been severely injured by soul devourers. He couldn't use his full strength far from the boundary. Other cultivators faced this issue, but Lin Moyu did not. The projection of the Great Thousand World appeared outside the boundary, not conflicting with it, and for the first time the Great Thousand World revealed itself in near complete form. Its shadow occupied hundreds of thousands of li of void, displaying its majestic presence. Boundless Dao power was projected outward, providing a constant source of strength for the undead servants. With the Great Thousand World's support, the undead servants moved like fish in water, wielding Dao power with ease and slaying soul devourers effortlessly. Candle Dragon watched Lin Moyu's actions through the boundary wall. Since Lin Moyu had gone out, he hadn't moved a step himself. Everything was handled by the undead servants. This made it clear to Candle Dragon just how cautious Lin Moyu was. Now, seeing the Great Thousand World, Candle Dragon's eyes narrowed sharply.
I was wrong. I've always been wrong.
He had seen Lin Moyu's Great Thousand World before, but within the boundary, it was limited and seemed no different from the rule worlds of other cultivators, or even similar to some treasures containing inner worlds. At the time, Candle Dragon hadn't noticed anything special. Only now did he realize what Lin Moyu's Great Thousand World truly was. Candle Dragon muttered.
This guy actually possesses a realm.
He couldn't believe it. Lin Moyu didn't just have a small world, but an entire realm. It might not be strong yet, but it would only grow stronger with time. Becoming a realm lord was inevitable for Lin Moyu, just a matter of when and how large. Candle Dragon realized Lin Moyu was walking a path no one had ever taken before, a path uniquely his own. At this moment, Candle Dragon was certain. Lin Moyu would inevitably transcend. The road he walked was difficult at first, but would become broader and broader, allowing him to achieve transcendence from different directions. As the rule manager of the 5 realms, Candle Dragon had looked down on the world for countless years, witnessing all the so-called peerless geniuses. In his eyes, none were truly remarkable. Even the human emperor, who knocked on the gate of eternity and understood the principle of
extremes meet,
stood at the forefront of Eternals, but to Candle Dragon he was just so-so. But now, for the first time, Candle Dragon felt admiration. In his eyes, Lin Moyu's future was already set. So long as he didn't fall, transcendence was certain. In fact, transcendence might not even be the end. He might touch that legendary realm. Suddenly, a ripple appeared in the void beside Candle Dragon, and a thin, elderly man in a green robe appeared. Candle Dragon shuddered, his massive body prostrating itself.
Little dragon greets the Lord. Greetings, my lord.
The green-robed elder chuckled.
It's been many years. Looks like you've been doing well.
Candle Dragon replied.
If not for your guidance back then, I could never have come this far.
The elder nodded, then gazed into the void. His eyes pierced the boundary, taking in everything outside. He murmured,
Let's hope it works this time.
Candle Dragon trembled, hearing from the elder's tone that he regarded Lin Moyu as someone on his own level. That was truly terrifying. It meant Lin Moyu's status was extraordinary. But Candle Dragon dared not ask, bowing his head even lower. The elder said,
No need to be nervous. I've come and gone many times, I just never told you. His identity is indeed special, but you don't need to know. Things will continue as they always have. I'm not here for anything else, just to let you know, you have a very high chance of transcending this time. After you transcend, come find me.
With that, a green token appeared in the elder's hand, bearing the image of a green robe. He handed the token to Candle Dragon.
With this guidance token, you can find me in the chaos and receive my guidance.
Candle Dragon hurriedly accepted it, thanking him profusely.
Thank you, Celestial.
The elder waved a hand.
No need for that. Soon, this realm will have another transcender. Very good, very good.
He smiled softly, fading away and disappearing. Candle Dragon's heart was in turmoil. The elder's words revealed more information. Among the 5 realms, there had once been other transcendents. He himself was one of the extra 10. But he had never seen anyone transcend. The only one, the Kunlun Emperor, was just a half-step transcender, not a true one. But he dared not doubt the elder's words. Candle Dragon thought and thought, but couldn't figure out who had transcended. He recalled the Listen Beast in the Void Realm, knowing it wasn't native, but that it was connected to another terrifying figure. He couldn't ask. After a long time, Candle Dragon's mind felt like it would explode, so he finally gave up.
No more thinking. It doesn't matter who it is. Once I transcend, I'll know.
He comforted himself, feeling that as a rule manager, he was little more than a figurehead. Such major events had happened in the realm, and he knew nothing. A manager like that might as well not exist. The sooner he transcended, the sooner he could leave this world and see the true vastness beyond, to witness what the real pinnacle looked like. Candle Dragon even had ambitions. Maybe one day, he could reach the Elder's level and become truly invincible. On the outer edge of the realm, the undead servants were busier than ever. Hundreds of billions shuttled back and forth, bringing back soul powder from the soul devourers. The number of soul devourers far exceeded that of Dao wild beasts. For countless years, they had no enemies and suffered no losses, so their numbers kept growing. There was no way to kill them all quickly. Suddenly, a furious roar came from afar. A group of undead servants had been badly wounded.
The Soul Devourer King has finally arrived.
Chapter 4171. Courtesy demands reciprocity. After several days in the outer realms, having slain countless ordinary soul devourers, Lin Moyu finally encountered his first soul devourer king. The soul devourer king, upon appearing, immediately severely injured many undead servants. From the feedback of the undead, Lin Moyu confirmed that the Soul Devourer King's combat strength was indeed comparable to an Eternal, no stronger than an ordinary Eternal being. The key was that the Soul Devourer King could simultaneously gain immunity to 10 great Daos, all targeting the same individual. If facing different enemies, its number of immunities would increase further. Lin Moyu tried to have his undead servants besiege the Soul Devourer King. Over 100 undead unleashed attacks from different Daos, but none could harm the king. This confirmed what Candle Dragon had said. To deal with a Soul Devourer King, a single person must control more than 10 Daos in an attack. This was extremely difficult. As far as Lin Moyu knew, neither Dao Lords nor Eternals could do it. Even if they could barely control multiple Daos, aside from their main Dao, the others would be too weak to kill a Soul Devourer King. The same applied to undead servants, who at most could wield 5 Daos without losing power. Thus, no matter how many there were, undead servants couldn't handle a Soul Devourer King. The king seemed aware of Lin Moyu's presence. After injuring many undead, it came straight for him. Lin Moyu guessed this was due to soul powder he'd refined and collected so much that its lingering aura, both in the area and on himself, acted as a beacon for the king. Soon, the Soul Devourer King appeared within sight. It resembled the one Lin Moyu had seen in Void Kunlun. He recalled that in the Void Kunlun Great Domain, the king's avatar had appeared. Even at a fraction of its true power, neither he nor Candle Dragon could handle it. Now, facing the true body, Lin Moyu felt far from confident. The king closed in rapidly, traversing billions of miles in an instant, soon less than 1,000,000 miles away, an instant's distance, now within the projection range of the Great Thousand World. Lin Moyu raised his hand and pointed.
Torrent of the Great Dao.
The projection of the Great Thousand World lit up, over 100 Daos erupting and surging toward the king. Within this projection range, the world's power became dominant, firmly locking onto the Soul Devourer King. Invisible force pinned it in place, unable to move. The torrent of Daos crashed down, grinding the king's body. In terms of raw power, this strike was on par with an Eternal's attack. Yet it was the king's nemesis. Over 100 Daos shattered it to dust. The Soul Devourer King was strong and immune to Daos, but its defense failed instantly when overwhelmed by more than its limit. Yet this didn't mean it was dead. Another troublesome trait was that even when shattered, it wouldn't die. It could revive, with each fragment acting as an independent avatar, scattering in all directions and recombining as needed. Its recovery was extremely fast. No matter the injury, it could heal in seconds. Lin Moyu had fought such avatars before and knew these traits, so he kept up the attack. The torrent of Daos became a grinding mill, pulverizing the king. It was reduced not just to fragments but to dust, yet still didn't die. Soon, Lin Moyu realized this method was futile. The grinding mill had its limits and could do nothing more to the dust. In his eyes, every speck of dust became a soul devourer king, countless eyes staring at him. The king felt no pain, only killing intent. Snap! Lin Moyu snapped his fingers, and the world-burning fire blazed, merging into the torrent to refine the king. He'd tried this before to little effect, but the fire was now much stronger. Perhaps it would help. The king struggled in the flames, emitting a piercing scream that stabbed at Lin Moyu's soul. His soul trembled, and hallucinations appeared. Friends and family, past experiences, all replayed before him. Some treated him kindly, others with stern authority, every reaction possible. This was a soul-level attack striking at his Dao heart. For most, even Eternals with firm Dao hearts, it would have some effect. But Lin Moyu's Dao heart was as solid as iron. These illusions were useless. He waved his hand, and flames burned away the hallucinations.
Lin Moyu, you ungrateful wretch! Lin Moyu, you'll die for betraying your masters and ancestors. Moyu, how could you attack me?
Former kin, lovers, elders, and teachers screamed in the flames, cursing Lin Moyu. But he remained unmoved, his mind clear, the world tree's pure aura keeping his soul awake. He knew these were illusions. His actions were only ever for a clear conscience. The hallucinations vanished. In that instant, the king, now dust, escaped the fire. The dust reformed into the king, its aura undiminished, its killing intent even fiercer. The king roared, its form suddenly shifting. It became Zhu Qiwu, a senior who had guarded the battlefield for 1,000 years, and once helped Lin Moyu in his youth. Lin Moyu deeply respected him. Now, Zhu Qiwu was in Yudao City, already a Dao lord and close to the Dao realm. After entering the origin continent, his talent had blossomed, his cultivation soaring, not inferior to the likes of Hao Daozuan. The king, now in Zhu Qiwu's form, spoke.
Die.
He punched, and a massive fist imprint appeared in the void, sweeping forth with chaotic Dao power. Lin Moyu recognized this as the world-suppressing fist, Zhu Qiwu's strongest technique. Lin Moyu instantly realized something was wrong. He knew of the world-suppressing fist, but had never seen it. There was no information about it in his memory. How did the king know it? His thoughts raced, and he quickly deduced a possibility. The king could not only become people from his subconscious, but could also extract information about them, even things Lin Moyu himself didn't consciously know.
Amazing!
Lin Moyu's aura surged, instantly reaching half-step transcendence.
Courtesy demands reciprocity. Heavenly Dao world-ending palm.
Chapter 4172. The hard-to-kill soul-devouring spirit king. Lin Moyu struck with his palm, a massive imprint sweeping across the void, crushing the
World-suppressing fist.
with absolute power and landing squarely on the soul-devouring spirit king, who had transformed into Zhu Qiwu. The world-ending palm, fused from countless Daos and evolving into the very source of Dao power, had already surpassed what the soul-devouring spirit king could be immune to. It also exceeded the limits of even the Eternals. The soul-devouring spirit king was smashed to powder on the spot, but he did not die. In the blink of an eye, the powder reassembled, and he returned to his original form. Still, this strike was not without effect compared to the earlier torrent of Daos. Lin Moyu's palm clearly injured him. The soul-devouring Spirit King's aura was slightly weaker than before. Though only a little, it was enough to prove Lin Moyu's attacks were effective. Lin Moyu had expected the soul-devouring Spirit King to be hard to kill, but he was prepared to grind him down bit by bit. Yet Lin Moyu wanted to try other methods. After all, such a good test subject was hard to come by. With a thought, countless Daos in the Great Thousand World activated at once. evolving into innumerable chains that shot toward the soul-devouring Spirit King. The Spirit King seemed to sense danger and screamed as he retreated. Lin Moyu moved. The cursed wings of time appeared and vibrated, causing time in an area of tens of thousands of miles to become chaotic. With a flap of the wings of time, Lin Moyu appeared behind the soul-devouring Spirit King like a teleport and struck with his palm. The Spirit King's body exploded, unable to resist Lin Moyu in his half-step, transcendent state. The Dao chains followed, transforming into a cage that trapped the soul-devouring Spirit King. Lin Moyu pointed, fire flickered, and the bone hell appeared within the cage. The flames of hell surged, and the hellish fiends frantically devoured the powder. The powder turned into countless tiny soul-devouring spirits, shrieking in terror unlike their previous cries. The hellish fiends swallowed the powder, but because it was so fine, they couldn't bite it, only gulp it down. Their bellies swelled, and after a few seconds, the fiends exploded, and the tiny soul-devouring Spirit Kings escaped from within. These fragments were clearly weaker than before. Though they escaped, they were not unscathed. Even though the fiends exploded, they were reborn in the hellfire the next second. As long as the bone hell endured, the fiends would not die. Lin Moyu observed this, confirming that the hellish fiends could indeed devour anything, even the soul-devouring Spirit King, though the efficiency was low. Previously, the hellish fiends had devoured part of the Cursed Dao, greatly strengthening the bone hell, now reaching the eternal level. If they could devour the soul-devouring Spirit King as well, not all of him was needed, just a part would suffice. The soul-devouring Spirit King reformed and recovered again, launching attacks that shattered any nearby hellish fiends. A fierce dragon's roar rang out as the Black Prison charged at the Spirit King. With the bone hell's advancement, the Black Prison was now as strong as an eternal. It didn't use Daos, relying solely on its own power, so the Spirit King could not be immune. The Black Prison and the soul-devouring Spirit King battled fiercely. The Spirit King seemed unable to read the Black Prison's memories, using only his own power. The hellish fiends took the opportunity to pounce, biting off chunks of the Spirit King and sacrificing themselves to consume his power. The fiends had no intelligence and no fear of death. Lin Moyu watched with interest. The battle was spectacular and worth observing. With the fiends' harassment, the Spirit King was continually injured, his aura weakening. If this continued, he would eventually be killed. Suddenly, the Spirit King glanced at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu felt a ripple in his soul, knowing some of his memories had been read. The Spirit King's memory-reading ability was truly defiant. Lin Moyu could not block it. A dragon's roar echoed through the void as the Spirit King transformed into Candle Dragon. With eyes closed, in an instant, countless hellish fiends fell like headless flies. The Black Prison was also affected, though not severely. The Spirit King, now in Candle Dragon's form, ignited with strange flames Lin Moyu had never seen before, flames of immense power. Black mist billowed from the Black Prison as it struggled to resist the fire. Lin Moyu had never seen Candle Dragon use such flames. The Spirit King had only read his memories, yet could wield powers Lin Moyu himself had never witnessed.
Truly extraordinary.
Lin Moyu realized the Spirit King's ability was not just memory reading or simple transformation. He could, by some rule of heaven and earth, fully master all the techniques of the being he transformed into, regardless of whether Lin Moyu had seen them. The Black Prison could not withstand the flames and retreated. The hellish fiends could not approach or bite. The Spirit King charged into the bone hell, rampaging through the river of hellfire and turning the bone hell upside down. Lin Moyu recalled the bone hell, tightening the Dao cage and shrinking the Spirit King's space. The bone hell experiment had failed, but it was enough. Lin Moyu confirmed it could devour anything. The Spirit King kept battering the Dao cage, which trembled and cracked. The Great Thousand World poured on power to maintain the cage. Lin Moyu stepped inside and struck again.
World-ending palm.
Candle Dragon, seeing Lin Moyu, roared and charged. He became a fire dragon, colliding with the world-ending palm. Boom! The shockwaves sent Candle Dragon flying. The palm, though weakened, still swept over him. This time, it did not reduce him to powder transformed into Candle Dragon. He gained the dragon's defensive power. However, Lin Moyu noticed he was not using Candle Dragon's collected filth power, only Candle Dragon's innate power, stronger than an eternal, but not yet transcendent. Lin Moyu now understood the Spirit King's limits. Strike after strike landed on the Spirit King, forcing him back, injuring and healing in turn. With Candle Dragon's defense and his own regeneration, the Spirit King was stronger, but still fell short of Lin Moyu's half-step transcendent state. No matter how he resisted, his aura weakened, he would soon be killed. He looked at Lin Moyu again, reading his memories once more. Lin Moyu felt a breeze in his soul, knowing his memories had been accessed. He wondered who the Spirit King would become this time. In his memories, Candle Dragon was already among the strongest. There were few stronger. If he turned into a friend or relative, it would be useless. With a roar, the Spirit King began to transform again. A green light appeared, and within it, a figure in green robes, an old man in green. Lin Moyu was stunned. The Spirit King was about to become the green-robed elder,